I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
I'm going to be fine with your jokes, but I'm not sure about Dark Brandon.
All right. Ba-dum, 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 boom. All right. How is everyone doing? How is that? I feel like that's pointed down. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. How is everyone doing? Let's do the intro really quick. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh, and welcome to my channel. On here, we talk news, we talk politics, we talk current events, we do fun stuff and not lame stuff. Yeah, it's another day. It's May the 2nd now. I can't see anything on my computer because I don't have my glasses on, but I'm assuming it's the 2nd now. 2023. Before we get into the stories, for which we have a couple to get through, so we got the debt ceiling we're going to talk about, and then going to shift over onto the videos, talk quickly about the writer's strike, and I guess Adam Ruins Everything. Is that his name? I think it's Adam. Showed up on CNN to explain why that's going to affect a lot of people. But I'm just kind of curious. We lived through this, a handful of years ago. We'll do that. Then we'll finally watch the white privilege video that we were going to watch yesterday. We'll finally get around to watching the child labor video from Reason TV. From there, Tim Pool put out a video a couple days ago, and I just kind of want to highlight it as a treatise on how unserious these people are. And then I saw this video by a creator called Arash about modern gaming, and I just find it kind of interesting. So we're gonna look over that, and then look at the first smart gun that has been created, because that sounds kind of cool. And in between, hopefully if we get everything done, we'll kind of talk about there's like an internet story I kind of want to go over, or an editorial, I guess. Would this be in the editorial? It's like a technology thing. But either way, before we get started, let's go over our favorite resource, Gun Violence Archive. So for May the 1st, 2023, we were victims to 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Okay. We're at 10 injuries, right? I got all those. Okay, cool. 10 injuries, and this starts on the second page. Cool. 10. Oh, they changed where the locations are for everybody. Okay, cool. Okay. Anyway, oh wait, maybe. Oh wow, they really moved this around since last time I looked at it. Okay. Here we go. Well, no, I want. What am I looking for? I'm looking for date. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. Date, cool. Okay, so those are the okay. So I read the wrong bar. Sorry. Where was it? Everything starts on the second page, right? Okay, cool. Let's see. Injuries. 1, 2. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Injuries starting May 1st. Victim injuries. Number of victims injured: 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 28, 30, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I'm on, okay. 40, 41, 42, 44, 45, 46, 47, 49. What was that number? 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 63, 64, 65, 66, 66. All right, 66 injuries and one. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right. 66 injuries, 18 deaths. That is the cost of Relationship to Guns on May the 1st, 2023. Anyway, now that's out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? No solution in Senate. Both parties dig in on debt. As top lawmakers prepare to meet with President Joe Biden, they stayed entrenched in their positions on how to steer the nation away from default. All right, let's zoom in a little bit here, shall we? Maybe a little bit more. Let's yeah, that looks good. Oh boy, that's big. That's okay though. All right, congressional leaders are digging in ahead of next week's White House meeting on the debt limit, with House Democrats prepping a Hail Mary while Republicans wait on President Joe Biden to meet them at the table. The GOP's insistence on Democratic concessions in the debt talks make it highly unlikely that House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries will succeed in his latest pitch, an arcane procedural maneuver that requires Republican support in order to jam Speaker Kevin McCarthy into voting on a clean hike to the nation's borrowing limit. Jeffries told his caucus in a Tuesday letter that he's pursuing a so-called discharge petition on a standalone debt limit hike. That petition allows any bill to come to the House floor with the signatures of a simple majority of members, which means Democrats would need a handful of Republican colleagues to agree. And that GOP agreement is highly unlikely to materialize at any. Let's go down to 150. That's really close. While stressing. Okay. Senate. Oh, that shifted where the hell I was. Tuesday that they'd be pursuing so-called discharge. No, we already read that. And that GOP agreement is highly unlikely to materialize anytime soon. Jeffries' plan landed with a thud among Republicans who want to see Biden give ground first, despite the Treasury Department's warning that the nation could exhaust its ability to pay bills as early as June 1st. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell confirmed that he will attend next week's White House meeting, while stressing that a deal must be struck by Biden and McCarthy. There is no solution in the Senate. Biden must, quote, make a counter offer during next week's scheduled meeting with both parties' top Hill leaders. Senator Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, agreed on Tuesday. And a counter offer cannot be a clean debt ceiling. No matter what compromise Biden can stomach, Tillis added, quote, there's no question that it would lose votes from House Republicans who supported McCarthy's conservative opening bid last week. That bill would lift the nation's borrowing cap by $1.5 trillion or through March 2024, whichever comes first, while slashing $130 billion in government funding and tightening work requirements for federal benefits. So keep in mind, let's be really clear-eyed about this. When they say slashing $130 billion from the government funding, that's not from the military. That is going to be from regular Americans' resources provided to them by the government. Tillis described a Senate vote on a clean debt ceiling hike through the 2024 election, which Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, is considering as a gimmick. Oh my God. And a waste of chamber time, given the certainty of a GOP filibuster. Senate Democrats will decide whether to put a clean debt ceiling increase up for a vote after the White House meeting on May 9th, Schumer told reporters Tuesday. If the Senate passes a clean debt limit increase, Congress could use the House GOP's fiscal bill as a potential vehicle for a bipartisan government funding deal. Schumer said Tuesday. Yet the chances of that happening appear slim at the moment, and the Republicans demanding massive federal funding cuts in exchange for raising the borrowing limit, and GOP leaders refusing to decouple spending from the debt. Yeah. So, okay. So we already kind of know. So essentially, Democrats are arguing that we simply raise the limit and that's it. We raise the limit. We keep moving forward, right? The Republican, the Republican proposal is to pretty much, to slash spending, which is to say, slash spending on, social safety net measures, and through those, and let us see, exchange, raising borrow limit, GP, refusing to decouple, Essentially, what they want to do is they want to tie any kind of spending that we would, whether it be on Social Security, whether it be on, any of our like public programs. The idea that Republicans have been forwarding for quite a long time now, most of my life, is that we need to balance our spending with basically with our general spending with the spending that we do for our citizens. To which the question always comes, okay, so when you are a normal person, right? And you have a lot of debt, what do? You decide, okay, I need to reduce my spending on going out and eating. I need to reduce the spending that I do buying random commodities, stuff like that. When you're a normal person, any normal person knows that to get control of kind of your debt, you want to decrease your spending and increase the amount of money that you're paying back into your paying back to your debtors, right? Unfortunately, this doesn't quite work the same way in terms of a government and kind of a nation's economy. The way that our economies are all set up, especially especially with international trade and international kind of the nature of international economics, having a lot of debt, especially debt that you owe to yourself, which is a large amount of the debt that we actually owe. A pretty large amount, from what I understand, is actually owned by us. It's money that we hand out, that we print and then hand out to ourselves. I should say, that all gets separated and distributed to social safety net programs. So we don't really have a problem with like a loan shark or somebody asking us for a lot of this money back, nor would they. At no point, would I feel like it's like a meme, or I guess a understanding that people have that, oh, China owns a lot of our debt. At any point they could demand that we pay that debt back, and they would basically, because we wouldn't be able to pay it, or if we did pay it, they would basically blow an entire hole in the economy's budget, in the government's budget and everything else. That's which is kind of, I guess, to say that it's not true would be a lie, because that could happen. But what a lot of people don't realize, I think, is that for China to do that, they would risk a lot of investment and a lot of business infrastructure, like business investment into their country from companies, American companies and American trade. Basically calling the debt of any this or that country isn't actually that worth the trouble of doing so. You would end up sending the entire world economy into flux, including yourself. So there's not really, from as far as I have an understanding, and I'm not an economist, but it's better to run on a debt system in terms of country to country interactions in the economy than it is to constantly than it is not to, basically. It allows us to gain the resources that we need and everything else in between. It's just not something that I think is actually realistic. And so the question becomes, okay, well, we have all this debt. Okay, fine, it's there. What do we do with it? Well, the question always has to become, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, all right, so our options are what? Our options are, do we cut our spending on social programs? Meaning that we wouldn't take in more money from tax dollars. We wouldn't make more money to pay that debt down. What we would do is then take money that we normally use to, pay for VA benefits, to pay for, usually this isn't, unfortunately, usually the military budget doesn't get touched in this, but generally it's like, oh, okay, well, like, let's put work requirements on food stamps, which will reduce the number of people on food stamps. If we close down, if we kind of close some opportunities for small businesses, stuff like that. Like I don't know if that second one's actually applicable. My point is like, we're talking about Social Security, we're talking about Medicare, Medicaid, programs like that, right? Stuff that's there for citizens to, unemployment insurance for people, that's like another big one. These are all in place to secure people so that they don't fall into, homelessness, which sometimes there are people who slip through that net. But regardless, the question always becomes, I think, all right, do we cut spending on these things that are good, or do we collect more taxes? And then the question becomes, where do you collect those taxes? My argument would be from the top. Some people think, oh, well, what if we collect it from all levels of our economy? To which it's always a case where, well, quite frankly, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, any of these kinds of like large organizations, they're using a lot more of our societal resources than, me or you who are just driving on the highway. They have trucks, they have USPS, they have shipping infrastructure, they have all this stuff already in place and built for them to operate these large businesses. So my thought is, you take it from them, you increase their taxes, their executives' taxes, their same with like stocks and stuff like that. You go after that. They can quite frankly afford it. But anyway, that's just my kind of just my interjection. That's all. If the Senate passes a clean debt limit increase, Congress could use the GOP's. Oh, I read that already. Jeffries announced to House Democrats in a Tuesday letter that their party's top member of the Rules Committee, Representative Jim McGovern, had taken the first steps toward a discharge petition on a debt limit increase with no added conditions designed to win over Republicans. The filing of a debt ceiling measure to be brought up on the discharge calendar preserves an important option, Jeffries wrote in the first letter reported by the New York Times. It is now time for MAGA Republicans to act in a bipartisan manner to pay America's bills without extreme conditions. His announcement came one day after the Treasury told lawmakers that the government could run out of cash by the beginning of June. Any discharge petition would require at least 5 Republicans to sign on in order to bring the bill to the House floor if it has sat in committee for more than 30 days. McCarthy has vowed not to pass any debt ceiling bill without concessions in exchange, and his Republicans cleared a package last week that offers a slew of them, all enacting conservative priorities on topics from energy to Biden's student loan relief plan. Nobody wants to see the United States government have to change the name of the Department of Treasury to the Department of Debt because there's no longer any Treasury there, said John Kennedy. So the time has come for the president to sit down with the House and be a leader. On Tuesday afternoon, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and the Biden administration, quote, won't negotiate in public about the potential for a short-term increase in the debt limit or any other options for averting a default. And our quote, and our position is going to be very clear. That Congress needs to avoid a default, and I'll leave it there without conditions, she told reporters. Jean-Pierre also dismissed the suggestion that Biden's inclusion of Schumer and McConnell in next week's meeting is a sign that the president wants the Senate to take a leading role in the talks. Meanwhile, with just over 4 weeks until the U.S. could risk defaulting on $31.4 trillion in debt, a temporary increase in the borrowing limit might be needed to head off economic tumult, while leaders in Congress work with Biden on a long-term solution. Schumer on Tuesday swatted down that idea, however. We should not kick the can down the road. We should go for the full 2-year extension. Now, the honest to God, the really like crazy part to me with this always becomes, why are we constantly having this debate? If all we're gonna do is continue to, all right, in 2 years we'll revisit this in 2 years. Just fucking enough with these debates. It's such a useless debate because we always talk about it. It's like, well, what are your options? Either A, we default on it, which would destroy our economy, or B, we keep it moving and we keep it moving. So the question always becomes to me like, what are we even really arguing about anymore? Yeah, and I guess they've been doing some talk about this. Oh, let's check in with Lindsay. What's Lindsay thinking?
Entitlements are going to consume the budget. Right now, we're at 2050, we're going to have 185% of debt to GDP. Medicare and Social Security and other entitlement programs are worth saving are going to consume the debt. We're down to a small fraction of the federal pie to run the discretionary part of government. So entitlement reform is a must for us to not become Greece. So entitlements are going to consume.
Wait. Okay. Let's kind of break this down a little bit.
Entitlements are going to consume the budget.
Okay. So keep in mind, entitlements, I believe, are, so when he's talking about entitlements, specifically, he's got like the entitlement that he's referring to is Social Security. Let me see if I can find a like a pie chart of some kind really quick. US, what would we put? Spending chart? Sure. That seems. Federal spending. Here we go. The federal government spends money on a variety of goods, programs, services, and support. In fiscal year 2020, the government. Oh, can I? Oh, okay. Can I get a chart? Here we go. All right, here we go. That's what I wanted. All right. U.S. government spending fiscal year 2022. Percentages are fine. So let's take a look. 19% on Social Security, 15% on health. I don't know what agency is that. Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, so that's probably that, right? Maybe not. Let's see. Income security, which is probably going to be an insurance or unemployment insurance. National defense, 12%. Medicare, 12%. Education, training, and employment. Social services, net interest. Let's go by agency, actually. That might give us a broader, because these are really broad. Department of Health and Human Services. Yep, that's going to be like your CDC. That's going to be, your kind of your governing bodies, or your not governing. What's the word I'm looking for? What are they? They're regulatory bodies. Social Security, 20%. Treasury, 19%. Department of Defense. Military programs, 12%. Department of Education. Department of Veterans Affairs. VA. Agriculture. Transportation. Cool. Mandatory discretionary. Obviously, mandatory is stuff that we need. Discretionary is, what's it called? Is going to be stuff that the government has deemed are not, what's the word? Not requirements to like running society, basically. Percentage of GDP. Let's see. In 2015, we're at 20%. We rose in 2020, but that's like, this spike is going to be because of COVID. And as you can kind of see, it's dropping back down to the 20s, which means that we're, as far as I understand, that means that we're like fine in terms of our spending. Spending trends. Federal government spends $6.27 trillion in fiscal year 2022, which means federal spending was equal to 25% of total gross domestic product. Our economic activity that year. One of the reasons federal spending is compared to GDP is a good reference point to the size of the federal government spending compared to economic activity. Oh, okay. So no. So our spending is only, oh yeah, that makes sense then. Our public spending is only about 20%, 25% in 2022. Before it was around 20. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, discretionary, formally approved by Congress and the president during the appropriations process. Generally, Congress allocates over half the discretionary budget towards the national defense and the rest of the fund. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, okay, cool. So it's kind of,
Right now, we're at 2050, we're going to have 185% of debt to GDP. Medicare and Social Security and other
what? 180. Well, that's fine.
entitlement programs are worth saving are going to consume the debt. We're down to a small fraction of the federal pie to run the discretionary part of government. So entitlement reform is a must for us to not become Greece. So entitlement.
So yeah, so he's trying to do this like aside to Greece, which if I remember correctly, it was not no man. Let's see. Government debt crisis. Let's take a look really quickly just cuz all right, a sovereign debt crisis in the aftermath of the financial crisis of 0708. Yeah, not even known as the country, not known in the country as the crisis. Let's see. Greek bonds. 20 years, 2000. Cool. That's nice. Let's see. It reached the populace as a series of sudden reforms and austerity measures that led to impoverishment and the loss of income and property, as well as small-scale humanitarian crisis. In all, the Greek economy suffered the longest recession of any advanced mixed economy to date. As a result, the Greek political system has been upended. Social exclusion increase, and hundreds of thousands of well-educated Greeks have left the country. The Greek crisis started in late 2009, triggered by the turmoil of the worldwide Great Recession. Oh yeah, keep in mind, Lindsey Graham wants to get on here and talk about how Greece had problems in terms of their, it had a whole bunch of like problems that had to do with their discretionary spending or their, their debt spending, their debt to their spending. It was triggered by the fucking recession. Everybody did poorly during this time. Structural weaknesses in the Greek economy and the lack of monetary policy flexibility as a member of the Eurozone. The crisis included revelations that previous data on the government debt levels and deficits have been underreported by the Greek government. Oh, so yeah, there's accounting errors? The officials' forecast of 2009 budget deficit was less than half the final value as calculated in 2010, while after revisions according to the Eurostat methodology, the 2009 government debt was finally raised from $269.3 billion to $299.7 billion, i.e. about 11% higher than previously reported. The crisis led to a loss of confidence in the Greek economy, indicating by a widening of the bond yield spreads, rising the cost risk of insurance on credit default swaps compared to the other Eurozone countries. Yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of like bank bullshit that went on. Government enacted 12 rounds of tax increases, spending cuts, and reforms from 2010 to 16, which at times triggered local riots and nationwide protests. Despite these efforts, the country required bailout loans in 2010, 12, and 15 from the International Monetary Fund, and the European Central Bank negotiated a 50% haircut on debt owed to private banks in 2011, which amounted to a $1 billion debt relief. After popular referendum, which rejected further austerity measures required for the third bailout, and after closure of the banks across the country, which lasted for several weeks, on June 30th, 2015, Greece became the first developed country to fail to make an IMF loan repayment on time. The payment was made with a 20-day delay. At that time, debt levels stood at $323 billion, or some 30,000 per capita. Little change since the beginning of the crisis, and at a per capita value below the OECD average, but high as a percentage of the respective GDP. Between 2009 and 17, the Greek government debt rose from 300 billion euros to 318 billion euros. However, during the same period, the Greek debt to GDP ratio rose from 127 to 179% due to the severe GDP drop during the handling of the crisis. Yeah. Essentially, yeah. So this was all brought on from like the fucking bank crisis that we fucking caused here in the US. So GDP rank 51 nominally GDP per capita 23, per capita rank 47, gross external, okay. Anyway. How do I get out of this? Oh, I have to hit this because of the thing. Okay, cool. Did I see any other videos? I don't think so. No, it's just okay. Biden's recent State of the Union. I don't care.
Congressional pension plan. I have a good salary. I have a military retirement. I have a congressional pension plan. If you ask me to take a little less to save Social Security for people who need it more than I do, count me in.
Wow.
I have a good salary.
So keep in mind also, that might sound like one of those, oh, isn't he being like really gracious for being able to do that? No, Lindsey Graham does not want to see the continuation of Social Security. And a way that you do that is by chopping down, by basically trying to undercut certain people collecting Social Security. Social Security works as a program because it is universal and everybody pays into it, meaning that everyone has stake in it. But we'll kind of see how this moves along. I need to do a little bit more. I need to do more like reading and stuff, just and kind of education on the economic portion of a lot of this. But either way, yeah. All right, so moving on from that too, did you hear that writers in Hollywood have had enough? They're not gonna take it. No, they're not gonna take it anymore. Let's take a look and see. I guess is it Adam Ruins Everything? I think it is. More than da 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 da. Okay, well, never mind. I thought they would say it in the thing, but I guess they didn't. Let's take a look. I want to hear what the repercussions are going to be. Oh my God, how did that happen?
As of this morning, more than 11,000 TV and movie writers, they're on strike,
okay.
halting multiple productions and possibly delaying new seasons of some of your favorite shows. What that means is this, that late night TV shows, they will see the first impact. They depend, understandably, on writers for fresh material all the time and in real time, so you could soon be looking at reruns. You may also soon see more reality TV popping up. During the last big strike in 2007, shows like Big Brother and Survivor, they boomed, filling
Don't
the
you
void
just
when
love
scripted shows were
fucking
halted.
reality
The big
TV?
difference this time around is the vast content universe coming from the streaming services, from Hulu to Amazon Prime, Netflix, Disney Plus. They have tons of shows and movies readily available and can offer new content for quite some time. As for that last big strike in 2007, it left a mark. It cost roughly $2.1 billion after that strike lasted 100 days. Now, right now, media and tech companies, they're grappling with three big issues, it seems. Weak advertising market that has driven stock prices down and driven them to cut costs and cut their labor force. The writers also face a very tough reality right now as well. They say a lack of jobs combined with low pay makes the current situation just unsustainable. Last month, 98% of the members of the Writers Guild voted in favor of this strike. Sarah?
All right, thank you, Kate. Joining me now is television writer, showrunner, and host of Adam Ruins Everything.
It is Adam Ruins Everything. Okay, that's what I thought.
Since you're known for ruining everything, is this your fault?
I mean, I'm off the clock right now. We're on strike, so I'm not ruining anything for the time being, except maybe the profits of the companies.
All right. Explain why you feel that it is
11,000
so
plus TV and
that
movie
this
writers.
strike
Oh,
goes
wow. That's a
forward,
lot
that
of folks.
This has to happen now.
So the studios and the streamers have tried to turn television writing from a career into a gig job. Writer pay has fallen by 23% over the past 10 years. Even though the company profits have gone up by 50%, they're spending more money than ever on making these shows. They're making more profit from them than ever. But writers are making less money. They're employing us for less time. And if you look at the proposals that they rejected that caused us to go on strike, they're proposals that would have protected writers, that would have made sure that when we're not just employed by the day, but by the week and by the month, that we can build a stable life in Los Angeles or New York where we live, that will prevent us from living in precarity. Writers are really facing struggle right now, and we are fighting for a stable life like all workers.
We are showing some of the sticking points. Can you give us what some of those sticking points are? I think 98% of the members of the Writers Guild were in favor of the strike, and that's obviously the vast majority. What are some of the things
That's
that
a huge
you guys are not
fucking
gonna
majority.
compromise on?
So the studios are trying to eliminate the writer's room. You're probably familiar with the term, the writer's room. This is a room that's existed for decades where writers get together and break a story and write scripts. The companies are trying to eliminate it. They're trying to make the room smaller. They're trying to employ us on a freelance basis. They'd rather we just stay home and email scripts in, and they pay us a fee every once in a while. And we can't make a living that way. And so our proposals are to ensure that there's a writer's room on every single show, and they have refused to even discuss that proposal with us.
Oh yeah. Also, I don't know if they'll speak on it in this specific interview, but while watching the Majority Report this morning, that somebody brought up, Sam made a really good point that the way also writers are paid is also very different. Back when everyone was watching TV, right? Essentially, if you wrote an episode of television, it's going to air the first time. And, when the rerun airs when it gets syndicated, whatever, the person who basically owns that content, who owns that show, gets a piece of any of the money that's made from them rerunning that show on another channel. Same with the writers. The writers would also get a piece of that. Unfortunately, right now, what we live in right now is a streaming world where reruns aren't being, it would be insane to try to pay people for every viewing of any show that gets onto Netflix, right? If you have some show that shows up on Netflix, it is, it's going to be start and stopped at different moments for a lot of different people. Some people finish the episode, some people only get a little bit of the ways in, some people start it and don't get farther than like the intro credits sometimes, right? So the way that a lot of these a lot of the IP holders of these shows and other things, the way that they're making their money now is through subscription services. So HBO doesn't make, their money on the reruns of their shows. Granted, they're a little bit different, but you have people like Netflix, right? They're not, and even like, actually, I feel like Peacock's probably a good example of this also. Maybe even better. Peacock, who's owned by NBC, obviously they run normal TV channels, right? The way you get paid if your content shows up on Peacock is going to be a lot less because they're paying you basically a flat fee while picking up those subscription fees. That's kind of the way in which how they generate revenue has gone from viewing any show getting shown on TV, and you sell the ad space in between the breaks. That's how that's where the revenue comes from, is the ads. To now that we're in a subscription service and we're in a place where instead of getting paid that way, they get paid per block of show. So if you're like a writer, right, you'll get paid for you wrote an episode of Stranger Things, or I'm trying to think of a show that's like what's like a show that everyone really like. Oh, okay. You write an episode of Arrested Development. It airs on Comedy Central. You get paid a little bit every time it airs on Comedy Central, right? You get paid out from the ads that run in between the breaks, right? And then Netflix comes along, or I think it's Amazon who owns Arrested Development now. They own Arrested Development. They put it on their streaming service. You get paid a flat fee, just a flat fee. And at the end of the at the end of, maybe 6 months, it's time for any service to decide, okay, do we want to hold on to this show? And if we do extend the contract of how long we continue to host this content, we are going to have to pay the writer, everybody, their fee for creating the episode or whatever, right? So instead, they ship it off to another, they instead drop it. It's why you see shows drop in and out of different streaming services, because a lot of them go, okay, we don't want to pay the fee again after 6 months. We'll let Netflix pick it up, and it'll go to them and Netflix pays it, or it goes to HBO and they pay it, or it goes to Hulu and they pay it. So just the structure of how people get paid also has changed vastly with streaming.
Another sticking point is that we want to make sure that writers are paid the same in streaming as they are on television. My first show was for
Well,
True TV.
son of
My
a
second show
fucking
was for
bitch.
Netflix. The
God
show
damn
had
it.
the exact same format.
Okay.
But on Netflix, we had no minimums, we had no protections, we were paid less. The residuals are literally 1% of what they were.
Yeah.
Because
Because also keep in mind, if you're doing TV, right? If you're scheduling out for TV, you can't order like a limited 6-episode run. You have a lot of hours of television to fill. So that's why, you'll get like maybe a pilot and they'll order 26 episodes. They'll order enough to fill up like a really large swath of time. There's also that.
And that's true for everybody in late night. That's true for screenwriters. It's true across all of our work
Seems
areas.
cool. I've
What do you
seen
say to those,
some of his videos.
that run this industry that say, look,
I like
times
his
are changing.
glasses. I like his
We
frames.
are not
Those
making
are
as
cool
much
frames.
money as we once did. This is not the golden era of television, although some of us would argue the shows are great. What do you say to them?
Also, is your skin red?
So
I can't.
point out the fact that David Zaslav
I mean, it is red hued. I'm more on the red side than I am on the other ones. I'm brown, so that also is probably a consequence. Because this lighting really makes a difference, and I don't have the best lighting. Like, this is probably a lot different than, especially this. I probably look really fucking red in this one, and this is like somewhere in the middle. Usually I go with the third one, but no, I'm not sunburned, if that's what you're asking.
the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is, the parent company of the network I'm talking to you on right now, was paid $250 million last year, $250 million. That's
God
about
damn.
the same level as what 10,000 writers are asking him to pay all of us collectively, all right? So I would say if you're being paid $250 million, Ted Sarandos made about $50 million last year. These companies are making enormous amounts of money. Their profits are going up. It's ridiculous.
And their
for them to
executives are the only ones who are
poverty.
benefiting
When
from
the
that.
writers who are making their shows, some of them are not able to pay their rent or their mortgages. I literally know writers who have had to go on assistance because they have not been able to make their year. If you look at these companies, they're making more money than ever. It's the people who make the shows for them that are making less.
Adam Conover, thank you so much for coming on because you ruined everything. You may have just ruined my career, but I don't mind. Appreciate you coming on and on.
She doesn't mind. Yeah. Support your local unions, as always. Yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see how this writer's strike ends up going. I wonder if I can find that's today. I don't want today. During 2007, yeah. Oh God.
I support my writers, but we have a lot of staff and crew that will be affected by this, but they got to get a fair deal.
11,000 unionized TV and film writers. Strike. Last Writers Guild of America. That's what 2007 looked like? Oh my God. Man. Sometimes they show like old footage from like the early 2000s and I look at it, I'm like, that's like the 80s, right? Oh man, this must be what it's like to feel old.
And it could mean
Canadian
that all of
Powerlifting
your favorite
Association.
television shows will go away. This
No.
could be your last look at
I
me
do not
involved.
know what's going on with the Canadian Powerlifting Association.
Goodbye. 2 months off the air. People want to know what I've been doing. The truth is, for the past 2 months, this is true, I've been in my office with my production staff. We've pretty much been camped out.
Oh my God, fucking Guitar Hero. Or was that Rock Band? That was Rock
But
Band.
we've got a special pass here at the show. It's the TV equivalent of diplomatic immunity. I know and I realize that some writers may be upset because they think I'm making fun of the strike. But if you're a writer and you can't recognize irony...
Susie, are you ready to time this? We're going for 41 seconds. If we do it, this will be television history. That's a good spin. That's a good spin. Oh, yeah.
Man.
Did we settle our dispute?
I don't know.
2007 WGA
Depends on
strike
how long
lasted
the
100
strike
days.
goes.
Dude, I remember too. Like, you can go back and look at the seasons of TV, like of regular, like you can really tell a bunch of seasons. Like, I remember the 4th season of House is super short compared to the others because of the writer's strike, and it's a wildly different season than all of the rest of them because they just didn't have the resources to have them write the same kind of episodes. But should be interesting. Ooh, wait, Nerdist still does stuff?
Why are Hollywood writers going on strike? Welcome back to Nerdist News.
Am I the only one who's like Nerdist is still around? I did not know.
Dan Casey, and today we're taking a break from dissecting pop culture to talk about the most important thing happening in the world of entertainment right now, the writers' strike. Now, as you may have heard, members of the Writers
When did
Guild
this
of
get
America,
uploaded? Was
the
this
labor union
today?
that represents some
2 hours, cool.
11,500 writers of film and television, are officially on strike
Canadian.
as of 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday morning. This is the first writer's strike in 15 years, and it comes after 6 weeks of protracted negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. More specifically, the AMPTP represented major studios and streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, NBC Universal, Paramount, and Sony. In a statement to its members, the WGA wrote, "Here's what all writers know. The companies have broken this business. They've taken so much from the very people, the writers, who have made them wealthy. But what they cannot take from us is each other, our solidarity, our mutual commitment to save ourselves and this profession that we love. We had hoped to do this through reasonable conversation. Now we will do it through struggle. For the sake of our present and our future, we've been given no other choice." And perhaps writer Eric Galindo put it the best. If you're confused about the writer's strike, it's super basic. The studios want the option of having WGA writers to work for free or without an agreed upon weekly salary or even a day rate. And we actually want to get paid fairly for our work. While much of Hollywood deal-making is obfuscated and takes place behind closed doors, the WGA have been incredibly transparent about the proposals for which they're negotiating. As streaming networks have flourished, studios have devised new ways to devalue writing across all mediums by paying writers less and less. In a March 2023 memo titled "Writers Are Not Keeping Up," the WGA explained their position. The companies have used the transition to streaming to cut writer pay and separate writing from production, worsening working conditions for series writers at all levels. On TV staffs, more writers are working at minimum regardless of experience, often for fewer weeks or in mini rooms, while showrunners are left without a writing staff to complete the season. And while series budgets have soared over the past decade, median writer-producer pay has fallen. Now, between layoffs, shrinking salaries, the mothballing of finished products for lucrative tax write-downs, and the general contraction of the industry, there are few...
Oh yeah, that's also a thing. Where, okay, so do you remember the that Batgirl movie that basically got made and then they never released it? So the reason why they never released it was not because it was bad or because it was whatever, there was a lot of speculation that it was like a bad film, so bad that they wouldn't release it, but there's been no actual evidence to show that's the case. But what it was a huge expense on Warner Brothers, to which they were able to basically as like a tax write-off, they canceled the movie and wrote the entire thing off and were able to write it off for their taxes. It was a way for them to kind of save money. The actual production, the actual movie wasn't going to go into theaters. It was, from what I understand, going to go into straight onto HBO Max, which means the payoff from that, like, there wasn't going to be a surge in viewership or subscribers to HBO Max. So it kind of was it was more beneficial to them financially to just cut their losses, just completely like scrap the movie and write it off as an expense for the year. Something that, some of these production houses and stuff, some of these, your MGMs, your Warner Brothers, stuff like that, a lot of these companies will do to kind of, just save a buck if they don't think a movie is going to be successful. And keep in mind that happened around the time of the merger too. So they want to seem as profitable as they possibly can.
fewer opportunities for writers to actually make a living at their chosen trade. Per the WGA, median writer-producer pay has declined 4% over the last decade. Adjusted for inflation, that's a whopping 23% decrease. This devaluation has taken on a new dimension in the age of streaming. Residuals have long been one of the primary ways through which writers can make a sustainable income. Residuals, for those who don't know, are ongoing payments for writers that are generated as reruns of shows and movies air on cable, in syndication, on DVD and Blu-ray, or airing on other digital platforms. And the data, if you look at it, can be a bit confusing at a glance, because according to Deadline, the WGA West's annual report in 2022 revealed that residuals actually increased by 48.2% from 2011 to 2021. They went from $333 million to $493.6 million. But this is because more projects are being made across the board to keep up with the proliferation of streaming networks. On an actual per-project basis, residuals are down significantly. According to Fortune, another major factor in this decline in residual pay is that so many studios and streamers are more likely to order a 10-episode season than the 22-episode season that was the standard when broadcasters dominated the medium. Now, back in 2022, writer Kira Jones very succinctly explained this discrepancy on Twitter. In case y'all are wondering why a WGA strike may be impending, my first residual check for the broadcast show I wrote on was $12,000. I just got my first residual check for my streaming show, $4. Now, the notion that Hollywood writers are all overpaid, sitting on Scrooge McDuckian piles of gold coins is an overblown fiction. Speaking with The New Yorker, writer Alex O'Keefe revealed that despite being a staff writer on FX's critically acclaimed comedy The Bear, he was living in a tiny Brooklyn apartment with no heat. And when his space heater blew out the power, he would have to go to a public library to work instead. When his show won the WGA award for a comedy series, he actually had a negative bank account and had to wear a bow tie he purchased on credit. Now, to put things in even starker context here, 8 executives, just 8 executives at major Hollywood studios made a combined $773 million last year in annual salary. That's just 8 people who have zero qualms about banishing your favorite shows to the netherrealm and laying off thousands of workers while taking outsized compensation packages themselves.
And keep in mind, these people don't actually do anything. In terms of value creation, executives don't actually do anything. They manage and oversee the value creation by workers, by creatives. But in terms of nobody turned to Bob Chapek as an example, the CEO of Disney, and was like, that guy knows how to write, how to animate, how to act, how to be fun, how to do anything. He just knows how to move money around and how to manage some people. And even that is a skill that, let's be honest, especially if we're talking Disney, has that really been managed that well in the last couple of years? Have you seen some of these live action remakes that they've made? Not great. So like, and again, it's outsized in the fact that they get to set their own wage. So what are they going to do? They're obviously going to set it as high as they can. Because when a boss controls that sort of thing, why wouldn't they? You would have to rely on the kindness, the charity of a boss, of an owner, of a CEO to get a fair wage, which I think is unrealistic.
Now, according to the WGA's list of proposals, their collected proposals would gain writers approximately $429 million per year. That's less than 3% of Hollywood's annual profits and a staggering $344 million less than is paid to those 8 individuals. According to the DSA-LA, Ari Emanuel and David Zaslav could have footed the bill by themselves last year and still walked away with $63 million salaries each. What the AMPTP came back with to the WGA amounts to a paltry $86 million increase across the board, which is frankly insulting to all of the hardworking writers negotiating in good faith.
Jesus.
Now, the issue of residuals aside, one of the most pertinent proposals in these negotiations is very relevant to the current zeitgeist. It is the section on artificial intelligence.
And keep in mind also, I want everyone to understand that if you think that this is any different, that the relationship of these writers is any different than your relationship to your boss, you're unfortunately wrong about that. Your relationship to your boss and to the owner of the company that you work for is no different than these people. Because talk to any owner of any business, small or large, and do you want to know what they will tell you? What the reason for them starting their whole endeavor was to make money. Not for charity, not to give you a job, not to do any of those things, to make themselves money. And in the pursuit of that paycheck, and the pursuit, as the young kids say, the bag, in pursuit of the bag, they will chop your wages in half. They will put you in dangerous conditions. They will subject you to possible unemployment if you are ever to challenge them and ever to demand better working conditions for yourself and for others of your class. This is I think, fundamental and core understanding that we need to have in this country about the relationship of worker, of employee to employer. It's very important that we recognize this.
Specifically, the ways in which studios can use AI to write scripts for TV and film. The WGA's proposal seeks to regulate the use of artificial intelligence on projects covered by their minimum basic agreement. They seek to prohibit AI from writing or rewriting literary material, AI-generated content can't be used as source material, and material covered by the MBA cannot be used to train AI. And this is all to say nothing of the fact that existing programs like ChatGPT can't write their way out of a virtual paper bag, especially when it comes to fiction. The AMPTP, though, flatly rejected their proposal. Instead, they offered annual meetings to discuss advancements in technology.
Regulate use of artificial intelligence on MBA-covered projects. AI can't write or rewrite literary material, can't be used. Oh, yeah. And also keep in mind, there's a reason for this. It's not because AI is like incapable or whatever. It's because artificial intelligence is only able to basically fill in. Like if AI was going to rewrite any of your like TV show, right? It doesn't just come up with that out of whole cloth. You have to feed it other content. You have to feed it the show and the writing of other people. Essentially, the idea is like, all right, I wrote this episode of TV. They sent it to the AI and the AI like rewrote some of it. And it still kind of sounds like I wrote it, but there were just some changes, right? Do you want to know how the AI wrote like me? It's not because the AI can write like me. It's because they fed it enough of my writing, of my intellectual, property, basically. They sent in a dossier of how to write like me, and then got the AI to write it. And that's incredibly dangerous to the existence of actual writers. And the only reason why these companies want to employ like these AI algorithms and shit to to write their shows and do everything else is for the simple fact that AI doesn't cost you anything. You spend the money to develop it, and boom, you're done. You have a free writer for the rest of life. One that doesn't complain, one that doesn't take time off, one that doesn't get sick. These are the dangers of automation and the dangers of leaving automation up to private industry to decide on how it's implemented.
That's kind of like offering a Band-Aid after having a limb severed by a robot. So what would the effect actually be
that
on
happened in a
Hollywood's
Call of
biggest
Duty
bottom
game.
line, aka their wallet? Well, it'll be significant if it's anything like the previous writer's
Isn't that like
strike
Black
in
Ops, I think?
2007. According to the Associated Press, the 2007 writer's strike, which lasted 100 days, cost California's economy an estimated $2 billion. CNN noted that the AMPTP estimates there could be as many as 20,000 people working on as many as 600 productions who could be out of work if the strike shuts down production. And you might also be wondering, how will this affect viewers at home? Well, you may first notice a ripple effect across late-night shows. In a WGA memo obtained by the Los Angeles Times, they noted immediately new episodes of late-night shows including Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, Real Time with Bill Maher, Late Night with Seth Meyers, Saturday Night Live, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and others would cease. There will also be a knock-on effect for the streaming services of the legacy media companies, which rely on new broadcast episodes to populate emulate their services. And despite studios stockpiling scripts to try and produce a backlog of content, this could also lead to delays in production on some of your favorite shows, especially ones that are currently in production on upcoming seasons like House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power. So things are looking pretty dire.
Oh
but
boy.
Worst of all, this
You know, those
time,
are
we
actually
don't have
shows
Conan
I've
O'Brien in his spinning
not-
wedding ring to
I still
keep us
haven't watched
company.
any of these.
Anyway, folks, there you have it. That's a brief overview of the
Well, that was nice. It's nice to know that Nerdist is still around. Yeah. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's quite a bit going on. All right. So, okay. Who asked this? Helda Rose asked about Canadian powerlifting thing. I've been reading on the side. Let's see. This is apparently an email. April 2016, Canadian federal government published the recommendations to all sports in Canada with the direction to implement their transgender policy in a Canadian sport. This policy was adopted by the CPU over the course of the last 5 months. It has been placed since. Over the course of the last 5 months, CPU CPU received its final review package when the new policy is completed. Okay, it wasn't nearly as much as that. Is this the article I was just reading? Right? It is. Yes. Okay. Let me synthesize all the information in here. So a assigned male at birth transgender woman competed in powerlifting and did well. Let's see. Let's see. Alberta women's a male Canadian powerlifting coach broke the Alberta women's over the weekend. Is this? Oh, this is old. This is not the article I was just reading. Is it? Did I put it elsewhere? Am I crazy? That's not the article I was just reading. Is it this? Oh, here we go. This is what I was reading. Canadian powerlifting organization is refusing to drop its existing transgender inclusion. According to email. Okay. Let's see. The board of the CPU of the Canadian. I don't know what the CPU is. I'm assuming it's like Canadian. Oh, it's like provincial something. I'm not sure what the U is for. Union. I think it was that I think earlier. Let's see. Decided that current CPU transgender policy will be retained. Yeah, so it kind of seems like, what's this person's name? Just give me their name. Yeah. So it seems like a trans woman did well. Maybe she won. I don't know. This never said. A powerlifting competition. Let's see. People are upset. Let's see. If I can find, what is this person's fucking name? Why are we like allergic to using this person's name? Okay. Anne Andres. Okay. Anne. Okay. Anne. Okay. Andres. Okay. Cool. Powerlifting competition says woman breaks record. Okay. Male powerlifting coach hilariously destroys. Okay, don't care. Man trolled competition as a female. Don't care. No. Can I get just like, did this okay, let's take a look. Let's see. Personal best. Can I just, okay. Placed third, second. Okay, so let's see. In 29, so they've been competing. Okay, so they've been competing for quite a while, it looks like. Since 2019. Looks like they placed first a bunch, second a bunch, and most recently in February placed third in nationals. Okay. Alberta, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Well, control F. Whoops. Andres? No, nothing? Are they not ranked? let's see. Age 30. Okay, can I? Oh, I'm stupid. Okay. Let's see. Tris, if I do that. Okay, never mind. We need to do Anne. I forget if they had an E in their name. Do they have an E in their name? They did. Okay. All right. Is it the same person? I'm gonna Nationals third. Okay, cool. They are, oh Jesus Christ. Oh God. Okay. Search. Okay. They are placed. What if I, okay, let's do fucking Christ. Let's do women. Okay. Cool. All ages, all years, all events. Let's do 2023 isn't really okay. We'll do 2023. They are 407th in terms of rankings. You know, I'll be really honest with you here. I don't really think this is a national issue. You know, if they were, you know, if this was like, I feel like the case would be stronger if they, you know, were like just destroying the competition, but they're out of, how many people is this? Out of 11,000. Cool. Yeah. So not, yeah, they're like 407th. I don't know if you're still here, Hell the Rose, but it's fine. Doesn't really seem all that crazy if I'm being honest. Deadlift total. Okay, I don't know any of the rest of this shit. It's cool that there's like a resource that's like right here. That's nice. But yeah, they're like ranked 407th. There are a large number. Oh wait, is this, wait, can I, oh wait, shit. Okay, no. Okay, global. Can I get Canada? Is that a thing I can do? Nordic, USA? No, I want Canada, UK, Argentina. Can I get all Canadian? Okay. Let's do this even more specific. They are 32nd. Okay, that's good. Out of 403, they're 32nd. Cool. Looks like there are, where are they again? 32. Let's see. The second person squat 440. Their squat is 573. Jesus. Their fucking bench is 334. Their fucking bench is 529. Okay. We're gonna talk about this later with a different story, but this is one of those examples where when you kind of look into it, it's not really that insane of a, you know, it sounds, you know, the flashy, oh, they broke a record. Okay. Okay. They broke a record. Do you know how many records get broke every single year? Records aren't really that, you know, I feel like we make them up into our heads to be these like unchanging things. But yeah, like looking at this person's stats, they're quite a far ways from, let's see, okay, 32, that's them. I wish I could compare people. Let's see. Oh my God, my eyes. Yeah, significantly better. Oh, well, actually, they weigh a little bit more. Yeah, they weigh significantly more than the top 10 person. Let's see. They outpace them in bench. They outpace them in quite a few categories, actually. But it looks like, I don't know how these rankings are 185. Oh, it's because they're in a different class. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, should we do class? Okay, let's do 185 plus then. Minus 185? Is that a thing that we can, wait, is that a thing that we can do? Hey Timothy, how are you? Is that a thing we can do? Is that a no? Okay, maybe not. No, that's negative 185. Fuck. Plus 220? What? I'm confused. I don't know how this works. I don't know how powerlifting stats work. God damn it. I thought, oh, 185 plus. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, I appreciate your honesty. Let's take a look. Ooh, okay, in the 185 plus range, they are third in Canada. Ooh, nice. So there's like 2 other people that are better than them. Whoa, by some big fucking margins too. Their fucking squat's only 440. The next person, their squat is 529. Jesus. Person ahead of them squat is fucking 573. Bench way out there. Jesus. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't get the obsession over the sports stuff. Women can clearly beat this person. There are 2 people who just insanely better than them at lifting. I don't know. It's just part of it is I don't really care all that much unless it's a contact sport. Then I think there's a different standard there. But yeah, not really all that I don't know. Not really that crazy to me. Take it off. You wish. You're gonna have to do a lot more to get that to happen. All right, let's see. Where are we at? What time is it? 8:20. Okay. We're how are we working through this? Oh my god, we're not working through this at all. Okay. We need to focus. Okay, white privilege. Let's get it. Okay, white privilege. It doesn't exist apparently, or it's not a big deal. Oh, this video is 19 minutes. Okay. We're gonna try to be brisk with our. Hey, there you go. That's my guy. Okay, we're gonna try to be brisk with this. With our criticisms. So let's
everybody.
Let's
Today
go.
we're gonna be reacting to "White Privilege My Ass" from Brandon Tatum. This is one of the first videos.
No. Okay.
That really woke me up and introduced me to who Brandon is, and now I consider him a great friend and mentor. He's absolutely an amazing guy. But this is one of the first videos that I stumbled across that really kind of challenged my beliefs on what white privilege is, and so we're just gonna get into it. I haven't watched.
How much you want to believe their initial opinions of white privilege were stupid to begin with, and now are dumber now that they've been influenced by Officer Tatum over here?
In years, probably since like 2018, I haven't seen this video. So let's just get right into it.
I want to use swear words to describe how sickening it makes me feel.
That's not a swear word.
About white privilege. Now, people see me.
First of all, fuck is a swear word. Why are we not cursing? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Why are we not? You said you wanted to use curse words. Swear words. I'm sorry. Fucking bullshit. I want to hear vulgarity, goddammit.
Oh, he'll sell out. He doing it. Man, ain't nobody give me money to say this. This is just
Are you sure about that, bruh? Are you sure about that, bruv? Are you sure about that? Oh boy, nobody. Let's see. Office Depot. Officer. Does he have any? Let's see. Let's see. Fort Worth, Texas. Political commentary. Tatum resigned from the Tucson Police Department to join Liftable Media, a conservative content producer. Okay, all right. Let's remember, nobody's paying him. Tatum resigned from the Tucson Police Department in October of 2017 to join Liftable Media, a conservative content producer that owns and operates the Western Journal and the Conservative Tribune. He then served as the director of urban engagement, which is black, let's be honest here, for the conservative action group Turning Point USA before founding his own media company in late 2019. All right, sure. Nobody paid you. Got it.
comments.
You know what's crazy? That's the #1 comment that I get. It's like, oh, maybe you just do this for money, or oh, maybe you get paid to say these things. No. If I really wanted money, I'd be more on the left and speaking more mainstream thoughts. But I'm not.
Wait. There's money on the left? Can I get some of that, please? That's you know, I don't know if you've ever like checked in with your local leftist content creator. We're not exactly flushed with cash over here. This is my bedroom, and this is like maybe a couple $100 worth of equipment, and even then, this laptop here was purchased for playing video games, not for, you know, the streaming part of this use of this laptop was not exactly what's the word I'm looking for. That was not the initial intent or use case for this. But right. The left, yeah, money.
My mind has resulted
I'm
in
totally
lots of friends, family. I get death threats. I do this because.
Whoa, you get death threats? I've never heard of that on the internet.
From being an influencer.
Do you get death threats because you're black, or because you're gay, or because you're both?
There's a lot of people who,
or because you're conservative.
That's why I do what I do. It's not because I'm getting paid to, or I'm still out. Like, absolutely not.
Common sense person who realize because I'm not racist and I don't categorize people and base my belief system.
Well,
on
you
their
do
race,
categorize
I
people
do not do
based
that.
on race.
I get
Race is a category that we use to identify people quickly. It's not. There's technically nothing wrong with it. It's all about how you. What's it called? It's all about how you implement that structure.
Offended.
I said we'd be
people
brisk, and
say
I'm already
stupid
stopping so
things
much.
about other people that's unjustified.
The fact that this dude is
I tell you,
2.3 million
as sure as I'm
subscribers
sitting
makes me
here,
sad.
I had many friends on the police department that were white.
Right.
Some of them had stories
Uh-huh.
of overcoming adversity that I could not even begin to understand. They had situations,
okay.
social,
What does
economic
this have to do with
situations that they were in
racism?
that blow my mind. As a black man in America, I have never dealt with some of the
Wait. So is your argument that white privilege can't exist because white people face struggles? That is not how that works. See, this is always the thing though, isn't it? It's like people who have no understanding of terminology, they only have a base level, not even a base level, understanding of what white privilege is. And then they're like, oh, it means white people like never struggle. And it's like, have you been to Alabama? Whoa, cat. Amazing. Have you been to a like rural conservative state full of a lot of white people? Not exactly the most economically advantageous states in the country.
things that some of them had dealt with. Period. And so when I see people bring up this false narrative that all white people somehow have this privilege from birth is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard.
It is very stupid. And that's something that he made me think about because I was sitting there. Like,
what did you think about? Oh my God. What was there to think about in that entire statement? He just said that white people also have problems. Yes. It does not negate the fact that white as a hegemon, as a default for our for our society does privilege people. It does not mean that you're never going to what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't mean that you're never going to see any of that you're never going to struggle. It just means that there are systems in place to favor you, to give you some advantages. It doesn't always mean you're even going to get to use all of those advantages. Unfortunately, under capitalism, a lot of the victims of, late stage capitalism that we live with are poor whites, because being poor is kind of the thing that makes you a target, Jesus.
I can get my own life, and I have white friends that I've grown up with, that I went to high school with, that I'm doing way better than. And there's white people that I know who grew up in situations way worse than me. This idea that I was hearing, especially when I was at these Black Lives Matter rallies, that saying all white people are racist, all white people are privileged, every white person has something over.
Well, the second one, yeah, because okay. Would you like to know? Okay. Would you like to know what black privilege is? Would you like to know what it is? They won't tell you this, but here's black privilege. You get to say the N-word without people looking at you weird. That's black privilege. Now, does anybody benefit from that? Is there a structure in place? No. It's literally a social contract to a degree. It's a social understanding. but that is a privilege that black people get to participate in the use of that language over others. Does this mean that because black people get to say the N-word and everybody else doesn't without getting funny looks? Does that mean that black people don't have other problems? No. The same way that white people can have struggles, and also the system can still be built for their favor. Just because it didn't favor them in those like specific cases does not negate or does not disprove the existence of white privilege.
A black person, it's not real. It just doesn't exist. There's a lot of struggles that white people go through that black people just sometimes don't. It's all based on individual, like how you grow up. Are there a lot of impoverished black people? Yeah, but there's also a lot of impoverished white people too.
Could we possibly explain outcomes for large groups of people based on similar outcomes? Could it possibly be that there's an entire population of people who live with a certain average of outcome, and another group of people who live with a different average outcome, and a factor in that becomes poverty, which tends to affect a larger group, one that used to be considered property by the other group? Could that possibly be? Could that possibly be?
Just because your skin color is white does not mean you're better than any other black person.
This
Just
is
because
true.
My skin color is black does not mean I'm less than any other white person. That's just not how it is.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Take this for example.
Uh-huh.
I was the spokesperson of the Tucson Police Department when I had maybe 2 years on the police department. You tell me, I have never in the history of the police department ever heard of anybody being a spokesperson with 2 years on the department. I'm in front of the camera. My name is behind things that I've said, and I've been on the police department for 30 minutes, pretty much. That's how we feel in the police realm. You're on for 2 years, bro. You're still a rookie. I ain't never heard a white person having that access to being a spokesperson of a police department that early. You tell me, you name a white police officer that can get on TV and say that they believe Black Lives Matter is ineffective. And I'll show you that same person that lose their job. Tell me what privilege that person has.
Okay, I was messing with something because of I was looking at something. This sounded like a stupid point. Sorry.
2 years on the police department.
Uh-huh. Wait, this dude was only a cop for two. Oh, Jesus Christ. I love how they're like, okay. I come from a cop family. I get to say this. Talk to me when you're like on the force for more than like 10 years. Instead of being on the force for like 2 years and then fucking off to be a political commentator. Fucking spare me.
I was the spokesperson of the Tucson Police Department when I had maybe 2 years on the police department.
Cool.
You tell me, I have never in the history of the police department ever heard of anybody being a spokesperson with 2 years on the department.
Okay.
I'm in front of the camera. My name is behind things that I've said, and I've been on the police department for 30 minutes.
That's
pretty
nice.
much. That's how we feel in the police realm. You're on for 2 years, bro. You're still a rookie.
This is true. You are.
I ain't never heard
you
a
are
white
still
person having that access to being a spokesperson of a police department that early. You tell.
Do you think it's never happened, or do you think he's just never heard about it? And secondly, what does this have to do with systemic racism and the systemic structure of white privilege? Again, this doesn't disqualify any of these things.
Tell me, you name a white police officer.
This is it didn't happen to me, so how could it have happened to you? That's what this perspective is. This entire perspective comes from the idea, the like fucking mind, submission that like, oh, what I'm black and I was able to do this. Therefore, there's no such thing as white privilege for the other millions of black people in the country. Like, makes sense, man. Makes sense. Totally. That's how it works.
Get on TV and say that they believe Black Lives Matter is ineffective. And I'll show you that same person that lose their job. Tell me what privilege that person has.
That's true. I feel like black people can talk all day about white people But the second you have a white person speak out against Black Lives Matter or speak out against black on black crime, they're deemed as racist. They can lose their job. They get hate crimes. Makes no sense.
And probably got one of the best deals possible on my house that I bought. I got it for a steal. I got the best deal probably in the whole community. I bought a house.
Do you think that could be a result of you being a police officer and having a pension and a good wage and access to power? Just saying.
For 166, and it was worth 270 when it was built. The person who bought the house was a white person, and they got jugged because I got a huge discount on that. Now, I bet they wondering, well, how he get that deal? Somebody explain to me how I can name to you right now a whole bunch of white people that I know that are in debt through college, who have to pay to go to college, student loan debt.
He does know that there are black people who have student loan debt too, right? There are Hispanics who have student loan debt. Almost everybody has student loan debt. Would you like to know the group that sees the least in terms of their return on investment for a college education? Give me a moment.
It's outrageous. I ain't got no student loan debt from my bachelor's degree. Not one. I was on full scholarship, and I know.
Wow, you were on full scholarship. That's nice.
70 other people who were on full scholarship.
Were all 70 of those people black? Like, we can do this all day.
In 100 and some different colleges.
Let me see.
Probably 80% of them are black people. And you tell me that somehow white people have a privilege. I know I've heard hundreds of stories.
I'm laughing and smiling because it's just.
Are there hundreds of people in this country? No. What's this person's name? Amir, my guy, my friend. You probably are also in your bedroom or something. Are there hundreds of people in this country? Or do we have a country of multiple hundred of millions of people in this country? Hundreds of people. I don't care about hundreds of people. I care about millions of people. What is this?
So wild. At this time when I found this video and was watching it, I was in college. I'm sitting here like, damn, there are some things I could have done to get free college. Like, my life's really in my control. I could have gone to the Army. I could have tried hard for scholarships. I could have kept my grades up. But, you know, you're responsible for your life. The actions you make have consequences. And it's just, it reigns true.
Of people that.
Yeah, this is all like individualistic, pull yourself up by your bootstraps nonsense. This doesn't tell me, like, this is the problem with this kind of mindset, is it's always, oh, well, it's just an individual. Well, could we possibly explain, again, could we explain the situation, a situation for millions of Americans by analyzing their similar results? Could we do that? Could we find a trend? Could we find that, it seems like one group of people don't seem to do as well as others, even when they go to college, even when they try to apply and get higher educations. Kind of weird. It seems to be successful for one group, but not for another. Why is that? It doesn't seem to be the grades. You can research this stuff. He does know that, right?
That I know tell me that they went to apply for a job, and because of affirmative action, that they were denied a job, that they were more qualified than the other person who got it, who was a minority. Listen, when you are born, how your success in life is dependent upon you.
Oh, we're doing this. Okay.
Are you willing to
okay, I get it. We're doing it's always the individual sort of meme. Okay. Then in that case, I have a very easy retort for that, which is, sorry, my ankle really itched as soon as, okay. Which is, anybody who tells you that we live in a meritocratic system, I want you to go to your job. I want you to look at your managers, look at your CEOs, look at whoever you can that's in a higher position to you. And I want you to tell me if you are more competent and more capable of doing their job than they are. And if so, ask yourself, why are they in the position that they're in and you're in the position that you are in? Every single day, workers And normal people go into their jobs and work for and with dipshits who don't work as hard, who know somebody to get the job, and who don't put in the real effort to actually make it to the place they're at. Have you ever heard the if it's not about what you know, it's who you know? This is a prime example of it. In terms of employment, in terms of especially moving up in companies, in terms of those two things, what's the word? Professional success. Your personal relationships will pay off a lot more consistently than your educational or even, meritocratic qualities. Because if you're friends with, the this or that manager of whatever department, they're going to move you up because you're friends with them, because they want to work with you. Even if you're a little bit less qualified, we as humans will find ways to justify making the wrong decision because it's what we do. We rationalize. You rationalize, oh, they might be not as good at this, but they're good at other things and this, that, and the other. So keep in mind, we've all experienced this. We all know this is bullshit. It is certainly good. It's good to work really hard and try your best, but don't be fooled into thinking that there is a 1-to-1 ratio to how hard you work and how much you attain.
With how much are you willing to take into account and how much you're willing to pursue your dreams and your goals. I don't want to hear you blatantly call
Seniority is,
people and say they have white
and
privilege. That's like saying,
there's seniority. If we're talking college admissions, there's legacies, and then you have kids like like Donald Trump or any, honest to God, take any fucking trust fund baby who gets into Yale, gets into Harvard, any of these other schools, not because they're good students, not because they're uniquely talented, but because their legacy, because their parents send money into the school and donate, and that greases the wheels to get them in so they can get a Harvard education and then, flaunt around that education to then get themselves a job that they've never been qualified for, that they'll just bounce around to, go from place to place every couple of years. Because let's be honest, once you're an executive, you just go from high paying position to high paying position, whether or not the companies like survive after you leave or whatever. Doesn't matter, because again, you're an executive. You just show up. It's like, oh, well, they obviously know what they're doing. They have like an education from Harvard. You legitimize kind of the natural, you naturalize the order of things. And if you set up the order of things to be people who have access to legacy admissions, then it's like, oh, well, I'm just a legacy admission. It's, it's too bad, there was a certain point where black people couldn't go to the same colleges. They were locked out of a lot of those opportunities, so they don't get to benefit from legacy admissions. But anyway, my point stands.
And I will say this, and somebody wanted to criticize me about this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. That's like me getting up here and saying all black people are thugs. You have a propensity to be a thug, and if police target you disproportionately, they're justified because statistics show that you are more likely to be a thug than a white person per capita. Somebody tell me a statistic that's different than that. African-American people in this country commit violent crimes disproportionately than any other race that we.
Would you like to know the biggest predictor of crime? So this is also the thing. It's all about where you stop analyzing. This is a big part of kind of the way these guys tend to operate, is they stop analyzing at a very specific moment. They decide, okay, I'm going to bring up the crime rate of black people in the United States, and I'm going to stop right there. We're not going to analyze any deeper, right? If you've ever, you played Minecraft before, I'm sure everybody here has probably played Minecraft at least once in their life. Eventually, if you dig deep enough, you will get to bedrock, right? And what bedrock is in this analogy is the actual answer, the analytical core of what we are trying to explain and describe in society, some societal trend. But for guys like Officer Tatum, for idiots like this person reacting to him, for these people, unfortunately, they have decided that they are going to stop well before they've hit bedrock. They go maybe 3 levels down and they would like to stop digging. My argument is keep digging, keep understanding. Why is it that the crime rate for African Americans is so high in this country? Well, one of the largest, if not, I believe the most prominent predictor for crime is poverty. A larger percentage, a disproportionate amount of black people live in poverty to other races. They also live in inner cities, high populated zones, meaning that if you live almost exclusively, you know, for a very high percentage of African Americans in this country live in cities, an incredibly high percentage, which means any crime that is happening within those cities is going to be amplified. When we talk about per capita, obviously living in a city is going to lead to more crime because more people squeezed into smaller zones consolidates crime. That's how cities work. That's how crime works. Like, when it comes down to it, there are explanations for these things, and there's context to understand these numbers, but they're never going to talk about the context. They're not interested in it because the only thing they're interested in is doing the 1350, oh, it's black people's fault.
We hear
disproportionately. I'm talking like we're pretty much responsible for over 50% of all the murders and all the robberies. Black people who look just like me.
Would you like to
aged just
explain
like
it?
me,
Would you
primarily
like to
between
explain it?
ages 16 and 25.
Are you going to explain why that is?
Responsible for over 50%.
Is that because, is there a reason for that?
That's not white privilege. There's no white man.
Well, actually, let me explain to you why it is white privilege. You see, white people, during the, I believe it was the 1970s and into the 80s, during the 1970s and 80s, and previously before that, I should say, we'll start at the 50s. In the 1950s, we started developing cities. People would work in cities and begin to actually live in those cities. Property values went up for a lot of these places. But during the 1970s and 80s, there was what was called white flight, which is where white people, and I do mean white people as a general statistic, a lot of upper class management, white Americans moved out of cities and then into the suburbs that neared the cities. This is a result of kind of the property kind of, gaining, what's the word I'm looking for? Equity in any of the properties within city limits, and then selling those off to go live in little suburbs where they could, separate themselves from other aspects of society. If you ever go into a suburb, you'll kind of notice there's kind of this weird, quiet, very sanitized nature to the suburbs. Suburbs aren't really good for resources, and certainly not good for the what's the word I'm looking for? The close-knit nature of inner city living. So as these groups moved out of the cities, then as it became more expensive to kind of live in those cities because of the raise in property value in these cities, a lot of the white folks moved out, leaving a lot of black folks to stay into the cities. They needed to be close to the jobs and within close proximity because traveling and kind of those, the expense of having to travel into the city every single day for your job is a lot harder for somebody if they're living on lower wages, right? With that, it's why you see a lot of your downtowns and a lot of kind of the closer into the city look a lot more, I don't even know, a lot more run down than your local little suburb. Plain and simple, the city, as the property values goes up, as the actual wages of people who live in those cities don't rise, as the people who keep those cities functioning, continue to live on subsistence wages, there's then this knock-on effect where you have a lot of people packed into small areas. You are going to obviously get crime no matter what. You're going to have regular crime, but you are eventually going to get organized crime in some form or fashion. As resources become scarce in those cities, these are going to be gangs that pop up that are going to be basically fighting over those resources. Same with any, you go into any poor neighborhood, especially even in, places like Pennsylvania, stuff like that. You go into poor neighborhoods because there's not quite that squeeze on resources, because living out in rural, Pennsylvania, you could conceivably have cows and have chickens and stuff like that. But since you can't do that in the city, what are your options? You end up kind of fighting over scarce resources to a degree. So that's kind of a way of how and the way I get back to this white privilege. Let me tie it all back here. So because of this, because of white flight, we had what was called redlining. I'm sure you've heard of it also. This was the structural barrier put up in front of black people to basically restrict them from buying property in the suburbs that were now built that white people then moved into. Because black people could not flee to the suburbs, because that wasn't an option for them, they were left in these very, very hard to live in cities and left with starving wages. That puts a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety on a lot of people and a lot of families, leading to higher crime rates, leading to a lot of social what's the word I'm looking for? Social disruption. These are, and again, this is the structure of white privilege. Isn't to say that white privilege wasn't white people deciding they wanted to live in the suburbs. White privilege was redlining, keeping black people from moving out to those same suburbs. Long tangent, I know.
Taking down black people, that's something that needs to be addressed. Like,
how would you like to do that?
The fact that black people are a minority in this country.
I really want to know what the cut was there, but okay.
We'll even dumb it down even more, because black people make up like 13% of the population. We'll dumb it down to like.
I really love that. I really love all the 1350 memes. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Cut that in half. That's like around 6% male, female. Cut that down even more to the age range. You're looking at like 2 to 3% of the U.S. population in charge of over 50% of all the murders and robberies. But you want to scream and tell me that Black Lives Matter. You want to.
What is this? It's true. It's true. Okay. Is that where the truth ends? I think I made this point already earlier. If you would like to stop analyzing at 1350, you're free to do so, but understand that the reason why you've decided to stop analyzing at that point is because you're racist. Understand that. I just need you to understand that. If you would like to stop at one statistic with no context and that's the end of it, then that's fine. That's fine. But you are racist for that. That is that is what I'm going to respond to you with. Actually, what is it? Let's see. Sure.
Scream and tell me that the white people are oppressing us. I don't want to hear it.
Hear about any other race that lives in America. How do we make up 13% of the population and commit over half of the violent crimes in America?
Well, it could be if you live primarily in cities. I already said this, because black people overwhelmingly live in cities. Living in urban locales is going to increase the rate of crime because more people, small area. It's kind of
Ain't
obvious.
nobody putting a gun in your hand and making you commit crimes. Nobody forcing you to commit
except
crimes.
for right-wingers.
But we commit crimes. Now, people with common sense know that there's circumstances that lead this.
Also, keep in mind,
but just as
people like this will also do like the "Where's the Fathers" thing. Meanwhile, not mention that black people are arrested, I believe, like at 4 times the rate for nonviolent crimes, specifically marijuana, than white people will in the United States, even though they consume on equal playing fields. Meaning that you have a lot of black people, a lot of fathers, a lot of people who are forced into the criminal justice system that shouldn't be there, robbing that community of, people like just general leaders, parents, all this stuff. And then when they get out of jail, they're pushed into illegal work to pay the bills. Because once you're a felon, once you go to jail, it becomes incredibly difficult to find a stable and actually good paying job. This is another way where this is another factor of white privilege. For white people, this is not a problem. We don't have because they don't get arrested at the same rate for marijuana possession, as an example. You don't have these communities that have been ravaged by the drug war, meaning that these people go on to go to school, get educations, start businesses, employ people, get employed themselves. There's quite a few options for people when you don't go to jail, when you're not implicated in the criminal justice system. There's also the conversation of over policing, you know, in terms of increasing the crime rate and everything else. You know, if you stay in certain neighborhoods to police crime, naturally, when crime happens in other neighborhoods, you're not going to end up seeing it. That's, you know, police can only be in one place at one time. You know, your unit can only be on one block at any given moment, meaning that you're only going to catch crime in that specific area on that block. But if you're, you know, if you're in the same spot every single day, yeah, you're going to catch people at that same spot. Maybe not every single day, but a lot more than if you're traveling around and actually getting a decent look at the rest of crime. Do you want to know who I bought? You want to know who we bought weed from back when I was growing up? It wasn't drug dealers in the bad neighborhoods, in like the sketchy neighborhoods or anything. It was the fucking suburban white boys. They were the ones who were selling most of the drugs in my neighborhood, mainly because they had the money to buy a shit ton and then sell it.
At face value, you can't say that. You can't sit up in a meeting and say, well, black people, most of y'all are probably going to be a criminal. You have criminal behaviors. I mean, black people go lose their mind, brain pop out the side of their head.
Ape shit.
Tell me how that's legitimate for you to say that.
Ape shit. Wow.
I'll give you another example. African American people get mad if you predict or you make the conclusion that black people like fried chicken. I'm gonna tell you this. I love fried chicken.
Love.
My grandma make the bombest fried chicken I've ever.
Let me get out in front of this. Korean fried chicken better than American fried chicken.
Ever tasted in my life. Grandma don't even use recipes.
I'll go there. What does this have to do with crime?
Grandma,
what does this have to do with anything?
Chicken like that. Grandma be in the kitchen doing this, just sprinkling that chicken.
Stupid.
Now, I dare you to tell a black person they love fried chicken. They get mauled. So how then is it okay for you to make a generalization about all white people because some white people have privilege? I mean, listen, I have privilege.
Oh my God. It's a fundamental misunderstanding. I don't know how many more times I can go over this. It's a structural preference. It's not a universal, it's not like a universal trait. It's not that white people are given like nicer cars. It's that they have access to nicer cars because they have access to, what's the word? To better loan rates. That's like one really easy, obvious one. Okay, I'm done with this. I'm really tired of it because there's nothing. All this is, unfortunately, what I find with a lot of these kinds of videos is it's mostly it's a misunderstanding. And let's be honest here. Officer Tatum knows what the fuck white privilege is, but it's a lot easier to argue that white privilege, is all about white people always having it better, which isn't the case. It's simply a recognition that the systems that we live under tend to preference certain groups because that's kind of how systems work. You know, our system of legal structures tends to preference people who break the law and people who don't break the law. Therefore, meaning that how you define breaking the law and not breaking the law is going to preference one group over the other. If, it's these are really simple things. And if you set the boundaries for what is legal and illegal activity to be based on, general trends, if you end up policing poor neighborhoods constantly, you won't be shocked that you find quite a lot of law breaking in poor neighborhoods. Have easier access to higher education? Well, I don't know, Requiem. Why don't you tell me? You seem to have the answers. Do they? Is the would you like to send me the acceptance rates of African Americans in this to college and the postgraduate success rate for those graduates? If you can, I'd be appreciative of it. They sure do. It's called affirmative action. Affirmative action. What percentage do you think? What percentage of affirmative action college admissions do you think get in? Do you have some numbers on how many people get in due to affirmative action? And furthermore, are there people who were on the other end of that affirmative action who couldn't get into college anywhere else? SAT scores by race and acceptance. By all means, then. You'd say you'd love to. By all means. Actually, you know, let me throw the let me throw the invitation out. Any of you idiots in there, if you'd like to come on and actually have a conversation, you are welcome to call in and we can have a little chit chat about this topic. If you, or really any topic, I don't really care what, but you know, you can either keep crying in the chat, or you can come on and talk with me. Nah, you know, not really. I do like that your name is Mr. Liquor, though. It really does describe you. All right, let's see. What should we take a look at next? Ooh. Oh no, that's right. Okay, we said, what a goober. I know, right? He is such a goober. Yeah, I said I'd do the fucking child labor thing. Let's do the child labor thing. All right, cool. Because I want to take a look. Apparently we're back to the fucking 10s or whatever.
You work here?
Yeah.
How old are you?
13.
Oh my God. Is that even allowed?
This video went viral recently after it was uploaded to Twitter by a pro-labor advocacy group called More Perfect Union, which then pointed the finger at the National Restaurant Association, a lobby group
shocker.
funded by big food corporations, calling it a key driver behind new bills.
Okay, you can just read it. You don't have to underline it if you're just going to read the entire thing. Just read the... Okay.
Letting kids work dangerous jobs. Sure, taking drive-through...
You're the racist. I think we should judge each other by the character, not skin color. Wow. You're really dumb. Okay, anyway.
Orders and slinging waffle fries at a Chick-fil-A your dad owned sounds like the definition of danger. Exactly like working in a coal mine. Over the past year, to help deal with labor shortages, several states have pushed for legislative changes that would let more teenagers work.
No. I didn't say that's dumb. I said you're dumb. Like, you're stupid. Like, I'm not making a critique of your. I think we should judge people on character, not color. You're dumb. Like you're stupid. Oh, you're stupid because you believe that I believe the opposite. That's why. And you also just think that I'm a racist and I'm obsessed with race. That's also pretty dumb. If you paid attention to my content, then you would not come to that conclusion. Also, aren't you the one who was, let's see. Oh no, that was probably the other guy. Yeah. Access to education, right. Also, secondly, sure sounds like it from what I've heard so far. Well, you know what? You, like the other guy, are perfectly welcome to come on and have a nice conversation with me.
New Jersey enacted a bill allowing 16-year-olds to work up to 50 hours a week during summer break with parental approval. In Ohio, the legislature...
Actually, here's a better question. Mr. Liquor, do you believe that we have a problem with systemic racism in this country? Yeah, I'm not, no. Okay, why don't you think that?
Legislature is considering a proposal that would make it possible for 14 and 15-year-olds to work
Actually, you know what?
hours
Because I'm not going to get to pay attention to this, we'll just go to this. We'll just go to me while I respond to you. Let's see. Okay, so we don't have a problem with systemic racism in this country. Got it. Why don't we have a problem? Also, if you could actually just describe to me what systemic racism is, then that would probably be helpful. Just so I know that you know what I'm talking about. What's new? Let's like scroll Twitter while we wait for this person to write out their dissertation on race and IQ or something. Intelligence agencies are targeting...
People were trafficked sexually and putting a stop to them. Yes. Where's the CIA with that? How about right now finding out how these people were trafficked sexually and putting a stop to them? Yes. Where's the CIA with that? Where's the FBI with
Love that.
Think about that for a second. They can go after and put parents at a parent-teacher conference on a watch list for having a problem with young children, right, transitioning and going into the wrong bathroom. But they can't, the legitimate role of their
Well, it's probably
wing of government should be to protect.
Well, Steve, it's probably a lot easier when people just go on Facebook and fucking talk about and like spread their transphobness all over the internet. It's probably a lot easier for the FBI to be like, oh, well, that was easy to find. We'll just put him on the list. Austin Killips won the Tour of the Gila women's biking competition. I love how I see posts like this and nobody here is upset about people not in the picture. Let's see. More states should try to get Pornhub to cease operations in their states. It would make the country a better place. Ugh. Is this freedom? Is that freedom? TJ Maxx, the last true arena of fights. What is going on? Who is this person? What is this? Marsha Blackburn. Oh yeah, I think I remember saying this. Is Liquor gonna answer? Okay, so they're not. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. They're not. Okay. I was like wondering this whole time. I was like, where's their response? We still don't have anything? Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Every single time you ask them to substantiate or you know, every time. Let me be clear. To any onlookers, if you disagree with any of the rhetoric that I espouse on here, you are welcome to come on and challenge me and my ideas. If you are going to sit in chat and whine and moan and bitch that you disagree or that I have opinions that you think I have, then you're free to do so. But when I offer you an invitation to come on and actually, you know, sack up and talk to somebody, and you disappear, you stop responding, then I'm going to call you a coward little bitch boy. Because that's really all you are at this point. You know, I get really irritated with people who have so much to say in chat. You know, I appreciate people chatting, but I find it really fucking annoying that I have to deal with chat scrolling, you know, waiting 30 seconds for responses. And, you know, it's like, all right, why don't you just come on? We can have a conversation. We can do this in like 10 minutes. Fuck's sake. And if you can't defend whatever your idea is, if you can't defend it, then don't speak up then. For fuck's sake. Ay. Now you have to start the whole segment over. That's okay though. All right. So, child labor laws. We are rolling them back in the United States because that's a thing we should be doing?
Yeah. How old are you? 13. Oh my God. Is that even allowed?
This video went viral recently after it was uploaded to Twitter by a pro-labor.
Also, you know what I just thought about too? In the last video we watched, that dumb fuck was talking about, you know, I think it was Tatum and the Amir dude. They're talking about like, oh, you know, I don't get paid to, I don't get paid to have my black conservative opinions. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, if I wanted to get paid, I would say what the left says. Meanwhile, I'm on the left. I'm in my fucking room I'm doing everything here. Everything. Meanwhile, this girl's like in a nice studio. They've got fucking lapel mics. They've got lighting. They got presentational, stock footage. Like, please spare me. All the money is on the right wing.
After it was uploaded to Twitter by a pro-labor advocacy group called More Perfect Union, which then pointed the finger at the National Restaurant Association, a lobby group funded by big food corporations.
Also, I love the guy who's like, I can show you data and then never responds. That's also my favorite.
Taking drive-through orders and slinging waffle fries at a Chick-fil-A your dad owned sounds like the definition of danger. Exactly like working in a coal mine. Over the past year, to help deal with labor shortages, several states have pushed for legislative changes that would let more teenagers
She does
work.
realize that
New Jersey
fryers are
enacted a
hot,
bill
right?
allowing 16-year-olds to work up to 50 hours a week during summer break with parental approval. In Ohio, the legislature is considering a proposal that would make it possible for 14 and 15-year-olds to work longer hours during.
All right, I work in a kitchen. Do you know how often people who work in a kitchen get cut, get burned, get like serious scaldings? Quite fucking often. How many people I know who've gotten like second and first degree burns? Quite a lot.
During the school year.
The idea
And
that
it's one of the few
that kitchens
policies
aren't
Democrats and
dangerous is
Republicans in the
ridiculous.
State legislature agree on. Last month, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed a bill that eliminated a requirement that 14 and 15.
I love the pictures of the kids behind her because they're all like terrified. They are all fucking horrified.
15-year-olds obtain a permit before getting a job. These bills don't primarily benefit the big food lobby, as the union-backed group that posted the video claims. And it's not an evil plot
Well-
to exploit children
well,
for profit.
if they're a large
the people who stand
employer,
to benefit most
then
are
it will.
actually teenagers themselves, who by having a job
Ah.
can learn to show up on time, follow instructions, work collaboratively, and manage money that they earned themselves and
I want you to think about all the things she just said. Show up on time, work collaboratively, manage money. We could be doing that. First of all, two of those things. We already have an institution to incentivize and teach this behavior. It's called high school. And the third one, in terms of money management, you could easily teach that also in high school if we taught personal finance, something that we should be doing in schools, by the way. But none of this. Understand that the lessons that they're saying the kids, these 14-year-olds benefit from, the lessons that they're describing the reason why they'd prefer these specific these lessons that they have. I'm trying to like word this in a very specific kind of way. My brain's jumbling. But the lessons that these kids are going to learn, they could be learning for free. They could be learning at their own personal growth. But these people, this chick or whatever, she would like them to learn it so that they can make money. And in the process of making money for a capital owner, let's make this very, very clear. The difference between a child learning to show up on time in school and to a workplace is that the school does not get paid when they show up on time and do their work in school. Whereas a workplace, a capital owner is the sole person who is going to benefit the most from that young employee's attendance. Your attendance in school only really benefits you. It's your education. But your attendance at work benefits your boss.
Therefore value more. I feel as if I've learned so much from this simple job over the past few years. One teen who worked as a ski instructor wrote to the New York Times for a 2022 piece about the reality of holding a part-time job while going to school. I've learned how to work with children, become a better teacher, and how to help different people based on how they learn new skills.
And again, could a child not learn any of those skills while in school? Not at all. But now they get to learn those skills while making money for an owner.
My job has helped me personally in many ways. I was super shy before I started, and now I am more confident. Added another high school student who is working 5 days a week after school. I have learned time management so that I can get from school to work and then come home and do homework.
Imagine this. I can go from school and then I can go to work and I can stay up late to do my homework. Understand, this is programming these kids to enter into the really destructive and really predatory lifestyles. Because imagine you're a kid, you get off at like, I don't know, kids get off at like 2 or 3 o'clock these days. You go to your job at like 4 o'clock. You're probably there till 9, maybe 10 o'clock. Then you have to go home, do your homework. Then you got to wake back up in the early morning. We are literally asking our kids, allowing our kids in these states to begin the morning grind with their parents How often do you think there's value to the staying up late because you got to do your homework, waking up early because you got to get to class, and like getting a markedly lower rate of sleep, a markedly lower rate of educational attainment? Because when you do these things, when you're working, when you're going straight from school to work to homework to sleep, you not actually have the ability to synthesize the information to do better in school. Like, is anybody happy with this as a normal person? If you're an adult, you go to work every single morning. Is that a process that you like, or is it a process you dread? And if it's a process you dread, ask yourself if you'd be happy with your kids entering into that process voluntarily at an even earlier age now. Now they can be miserable like you, trying to juggle their work with their homework, with their schoolwork. Like, and will they be having social lives? Where's the fucking time? You know, maybe they get 2 days out of the week now where kids get actual social time. I mean, granted, they already spend most of their time online. They already live on apps and on social media. But is this something that we want to reinforce and continue to reinforce?
There's plenty of data that backs up the claim that holding a job as a teen has positive effects. A 2016 paper published in the Southern Economic Journal, for example, found that high schoolers working 20 hours a week during their senior year had 12% higher earnings in their careers than those that didn't, although that wage premium has declined over the years for complicated reasons.
For complicated reasons, right. Is it because that jumpstart doesn't actually have long-term benefits? Because keep in mind also, there is no guarantee to any of those. Any gains, you know, if you start working your senior year, right? Which granted also, let's be really like clear about this. If you've graduated, let me ask you, was senior year your toughest year in school, or was that junior year? Because junior year is the year where you have to apply to all the colleges. Junior year is where you need to get all of your grades in line and all your SAT scores in line. It's senior year where generally people tend to take it easier on school, because by then you have all of your credits and you're pretty much coasting. Maybe you're wrapping up a few other, classes, but otherwise senior year is the most flexible of all of the years. And most people do get jobs in their senior years, but most people when they're seniors are 17 or 18 or at least 16. By then they're at least of working age. We're not talking about, that's not child labor in the same way that 14-year-olds is child labor, the same way that 13-year-olds is child labor. Those are two completely different contexts.
In a job, teens are forced to discover or build out parts of themselves that are not required for school, home, or sports. Psychologist Lisa DeMore told the Washington Post last year.
Wait, summer jobs. Summer jobs aren't juggling all the other things. Yeah, kids have free time during the summer. I worked summer jobs, but I didn't work fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't work during the school year, because you need to focus on your studies, on the things that give you the ability to get into good colleges or, start whatever you're going to end up doing. Like, this is such, this is using data from like very specific points, like senior year, the least rigorous year of your high school experience. Summer, the least rigorous season of your high school experiences. Like, yeah, these are the times when kids can get jobs. When kids can, at the very least, not all of them get summer jobs. Usually also summer jobs. How many of them are getting real jobs, and how many of them are getting like lifeguarding positions? Honestly. Like, yay.
Also stressed that having a job teaches kids to answer to adults who aren't their parents, because when they do the same thing over and over, there's no need to grow. We need to stop treating teenagers as inherently fragile, or they'll become that way. Real-world exposure to the challenge.
What? Okay. I mean, that's just like a moral thing, but okay, we're just gonna leave that aside. Also, it's not about teaching kids. It's not about like treating them as they're fragile. It's shielding them from the rigors of regular life, so as to isolate them so they can obtain the best results in that small time period. There's a reason why you don't want to get a job during your junior year of high school. It's because you are bore down upon so many different processes, such as your college applications, any of your SAT scores, any of that stuff. All of that has to get done in your junior year. It's why people say to focus and really hammer down in your junior year. Your senior year, you can take it a little bit easier. And usually by then you're a good bit older too. But like, again, we're not talking about seniors, and we're not concerned about fucking little summer jobs. What we're concerned about is full-time, or maybe not full-time, but is year-round employment by 13-year-olds. Kids who should be socializing with their friends, going out. You know, we always complain that kids don't go out these days. Now what are they going to end up doing? They're just going to go and what? Make money for a capitalist. That's all that's going to happen. They're going to make money for a while, and then they're going to hopefully they do okay in school if they work hard enough. And then what? They get one more line on their resume that's not going to do very much for them to begin with.
Of getting paid to do things that other people value will benefit them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. This was fucking stupid. This was, okay, yeah. Wow. That was, wow. Okay. Wow. Well, that was amazing, wasn't it? Whoa, Jesus. All right. What time is it? Okay, 9:20. All right, we ran through that one quick. Do you think... Okay, we might have to save the video game one because I want to go over the... do we want to do the trans thing? Yeah, let's do it.
I often hear conversations about accelerate.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, let's intro. All right, Tim Pool, he's really upset about... Hey, stop it. Why does it play sometimes and not other times? Okay, Tim Pool, upset about trans people because, I don't know. Maybe he's secretly trans and in denial. I don't fucking know. Dude seems to always be really concerned about trans people's existence. In another fun story of the right wing only reading about half the story. Yeah, a trans runner beat 14,000 women in London Marathon after running as a man in New York City. Okay, sounds cool. I don't know why it matters. It's running. It's who cares? But okay, move on.
I often hear conversations about accelerationism, and that refers to allowing the problem to get bad, allowing it to get bad faster and faster, so that it finally snaps people to attention, and so that they can be told, hey, something bad is happening.
Yep.
So there are a lot of people I'm seeing actually celebrating this story. Trans runner beat 14,000 women in London Marathon after running New York City as a man. And the individual said that they won with girl power. And this has been so shockingly offensive to so many women, they're starting to pay attention. I don't know if I agree with any of that accelerationism stuff. I just think problems are bad. We should stop having problems. We should work towards solutions. And I'm not a big fan of necessarily saying, like, make it all get worse faster. But I will admit, stories like this absolutely push the news to the forefront. Stories like the Anheuser-Busch boycott absolutely make people pay attention to what's going on in the world. Here's a story from the New York Post. They report, a two-time Olympian has ripped rules that allowed a transgender runner to beat nearly 14,000 women in the female category of the London Marathon. Mara Yamauchi.
Oh, okay. I can already tell reading this article. We're going to let him read all of it, and then I'm going to devastate with a key fact that I think they're going to leave out.
Yamauchi, it's probably pronounced Yamauchi, who finished 6th in the marathon in the 2008 Beijing Olympics, lashed out after trans racer Glenique Frank, 54 years old, gushed to the BBC about using girl power to run the key UK race on Sunday.
So let's see. Two-time Olympian. Oh yeah, a two-time Olympian ripped. Yeah. Okay, so they whined. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Quote, males in the female category is unfair for females, Yamauchi tweeted alongside a clip of the mid-race interview by the sports bra-wearing runner, who also gushed about soon becoming a gran.
Cool. That's nice for that person.
Really need to point this out. Not only did this person defeat 14,000 women, they're 54 years old.
Wow.
Yo.
Good for them.
I'm pretty sure that like male peak physical performance is between the age of like 19 and 24 years old. And then after
Okay.
that, you have a sharpening of skills, but a decline in physical prowess. So
I do not Can one of these guys get an actual like sports medicine degree instead of just kind of speculating broadly? Because I'm not sure if that's actually true. It might be, but that feels like one of those vibe things, you know?
So reaction time starts to decrease, muscle endurance starts to decrease, but you can maintain these things well into an older age. Just to put it simply, top pros in a lot of sports tend to be in their early 20s, but sure,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. That's
Nearly
yep.
14,000
Sports is a young man's game.
actual females suffered a worse finish position because
Actual
of Frank. from Devotion.
females.
It said that even when she was ranked second in the world as a woman, at least 1,300 men ran faster than me. She noted how UK athletics applied world athletics rules on the exclusion of transgender women from elite female competitions at the end of March to make it fair for athletes who have gone through male puberty to be excluded from the female category in athletics.
I think that makes
However,
sense. Wait. Athletics applied on exclusion of transgender women from elite female competitions. Notice it's elite also. Like the emphasis on elite here is like, okay, look, in the absolute top tier, like when it matters, just doing your local marathon, I don't think is harmful to anybody. It's a local fucking marathon. Who fucking cares? Now, if we're talking like, you know, the NFL or like a, you know, or a FIFA team, what are you doing? Stop it. Stop doing that. Then that's a different conversation. The rules should be different for like professional elite sports. That's kind of pretty obvious. But anyway, yeah. Let's see. End of March to make it fair for athletes who have gone through male puberty to be excluded from the female. Yeah. So if you're trans and you went through male puberty, they said, yeah, we're not going to side with that, which I think is not. I think that's fair. I think there is a fair argument to make that if you went through male puberty, you gained a lot of advantages that we just can't turn back on. Again, I've said it before, the solution to this is hormone blockers for trans teens, but some people don't like that answer as a solution, and that's their fault.
Allowed those who had already entered races to still compete in categories that were not their biological sex. This male competed under UK athletics transitional arrangements, but it is still wrong and unfair, Yamauchi told Telegraph Sport.
Right, so they passed the threshold and this person is still complaining. This just sounds like a sore loser.
So here's the male who said girl power allowed him, whoever, to win.
Just say her, you fucking idiot. God damn, is it that hard? I love how he had to, like, see how much thinking you had to do to misgender them, Tim? If you had just said her, you would have been fine. But no, you got to go out of your way to misgender them and everything else. See how it's kind of stupid to be anti-trans?
Kathy Devine, a former lecturer in sport and physical activity at the University of Cumbria, also accused the London Marathon of being enabling. Zero
Seems
categories
like
that
Kathy
exclude
Devine
male
is a turf.
performance
Cool.
advantage.
Sounds good.
Goddess forbid that female runners should have their own category celebrating
Goddess
that women
forbid.
what
Who
women
said
runners
this?
can do.
Wait, is
Frank
that what
told
this,
the Post too?
Wait, is that what this person said? Goddess forbid? Oh yeah, this person's a turf. Yeah, absolutely.
That she's competed in the male category in previous marathons, including New York in November, because she was forced to enter under the name and gender that's listed on her passport. Even so, she ran around the Big Apple in a bright red bra and wore a long pink wig as a city tourist.
Sounds fun.
Okay. For the London Marathon, however, the same passport rules did not apply because Frank is UK-based and a British citizen.
Oh, that's
I ticked
nice.
female because I see myself as female. Well, that's
Makes
a lie.
sense.
You are not female. You are male. You can identify however you want. Doesn't change what you really are. Said Frank, who came out 3 years ago as Glenique.
Also, yeah, if they if the box you had to check was female, then you do female. But if they're transgender, then they probably feel like a woman. This is a kind of a distinction without a difference to a degree. If that's the box that you get, then that's the box that you check. There's not really, it's just the language that they chose to use.
A mix of Glenn and Unique, but has known since I was 5 I was in the wrong body.
Makes sense.
Frank said it was traumatic
Happens.
to be publicly attacked while trying to spread joy and happiness with the rainbow love at the race. Still, I get it.
God forbid.
Frank, a personal trainer, said of the criticism, I feel sad that I've upset Mara because I respect her. Okay.
Makes sense.
Frank, when is it Yamauchi? I'm assuming that if it's Yamauchi if she's like European, but Yamauchi if she's
okay.
Asian. I mean, different pronunciation. Frank went viral after stopping to tell the BBC of her joy at running her 17th marathon.
That's nice.
Girl power, Frank said, while flexing her bulging biceps above rainbow-colored armbands. It's like the episode of South Park. Please.
Oh, these people. Oh, I knew it. You know, there's a reason why I always put up. I can find it. I know how to find it very, very quickly. There's. Oh wait, I already have a page open. Yeah, where is it? Yep. Thanks, South Park. This is why South Park is trash, by the way. Which, granted, South Park hasn't really been good in a long time, in my opinion. It's always kind of been surface level. Whenever they get into politics, it's kind of obvious that they don't really know what they're talking about. But yeah. This is every single time. Every time a conservative talks about trans women in sports, this is what they see. This is all they see. This is all they can think about. This is all that's up there. You zoom into their brains with like a fucking telescope or whatever, and all you're gonna see is this picture. Because this is the only way they know how to engage on the topic. They go, oh, they're a biological male. They must look like Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, obviously I'm a woman. Oh yeah, like it's fucking stupid. And it's why like this episode got a lot of play, because a lot of dumb fucking people took this as like, oh yeah, this is what it's like for trans women in women's sports. This is exactly what it's like. And you know, this kind of reductive like understanding of sports acumen and everything else is why they always revert back to this back to this image and rhetoric that's based on this image. You know, if they would see, like, understand, there are women who are fucking ripped, but to them, they're like, I see muscles, that's manly, because they see muscles, they see any kind of muscular physique as manly. You know, it's the same reason why, if you're ever wondering why people got really upset about Abby from The Last of Us 2, who just worked out a lot to get a lot of muscles and still got shit from people. People like Tim Pool, who still were bothered by the fact that she had muscles. It still became a whole like, oh, she's so manly, all this stuff. That's why, because they don't see women of like muscular stature as women. They see them as these like male cosplayer types. It's misogynistic.
You know, look, man, if the left would just stop being so insane, we could actually figure out a solution for transgender athletes who just want to compete. And I'm all for it. Everybody should be allowed to compete. But maybe the simple answer is there's another category for trans people. And I'll give a shout out to the conservatives. When the NHL had a trans league game, conservatives still attacked them. What are you talking about? They did a league where they said transgender individuals can compete against each other, and conservatives still got mad. Come on. You win. And they were like, well, males shouldn't compete against females. If they want to, let them do it. The issue is that females don't want to compete about males, and they're being forced to. So when the NHL makes a league for trans people, so there are trans men and trans women competing against each other, I'm all for it. That's the solution. Congratulations. Why were people on the right still coming out and making fun?
Oh yeah, do you know why this is a suggestion also? Would you like to know why this is a suggestion and why I reject it outright as like a just off its base? It's like it's useless. It's because trans people make up such a small percentage of the population that quartering them off into their own league it'd be almost impossible for trans people to compete against other trans people. There wouldn't be trans sports. There just wouldn't. There wouldn't be that many for them to compete against each other with. They make up a very small percentage of the population. Not only that, but as long as trans women and trans people in general are competing against people of a equal acumen, of equal ability, then there really isn't an issue here now, is there? There are women who are stronger than men. There are men who are weaker than women. There is a very wide spectrum of athletic ability overlapping between both men and women. There's no, like, we already have intergender sports. Nobody says anything about the, fairness there, because quite frankly, women can outcompete men. It's a thing that can happen. Like, it's just such a weird, like, why even bother separating them unless there is an outsized, and I mean like provable biological advantage by like by this or that individual, then I don't really see the problem. And again, we'll get into the part of the article that they didn't include. So anyway, let's continue.
Whatever, man. The runner, whose social media still shows photos from earlier races, while still a balding then married man, ended the mid-race chat to gush about how her beautiful son is expecting a baby. "So I'm going to be a Granny G," Frank said before running off, draped in a blue, pink, and white transgender flag. So here's Yamauchi.
Yeah, like, what are we at? We're at 6:26. I want to take a look at the picture that they flashed up on screen really quickly of them. Okay. All right, you see this person? You know, they're pretty in shape, right? This is a cis woman. Women can have muscles. It's not weird. It's also not that unique. Jesus Christ. I always have to do this.
Frank said she was shocked at the blowback, given that she was not an elite runner competing for prize money or a place on the podium. Instead, she's raised the equivalent of $37,000 for charity in the races. "I did the race in 4 hours, 11 minutes. There's lots of women that beat me." She noted the more than 6,150 ahead of her in the category. Still, from now on, Frank said she's going to enter under the other or male just to keep everybody happy.
Damn.
"And I'll still do it in 4 hours, and I won't steal anybody's money," she quipped. So I just think...
So keep in mind, okay, so unfortunately we have to look at this as an example of people like Tim Pool getting their way on this one. Because this person has decided that they don't feel like becoming a national talking point for like the next couple of months. So they've just decided, you know what, fuck it. I'll just compete against other and males just to shut you guys up. Then you guys will stop talking. And Tim Pool will never talk about women's sports, specifically in running, ever again. And also I'm glad, I'm glad that what's their name? Glenique, I think they said their name was, decided to say the thing that I was going to bring up. They placed 6,171st. I want to emphasize that. Tim Pool is complaining that a trans woman beat 14, what was the number? What was it? 14,000, I believe. Let me make sure I have the right number here. Yeah, cool. Okay. Tim Pool is complaining that a trans woman beat 14,000 other women in the London Marathon, even though she got beat by over 6,000 other cis women. Understand how ridiculous of a complaint this is. They didn't place first or second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth or ninth or 10th through 6,000. And that's what we're complaining about. That's what they've found is the, we just can't accommodate it in life. We can't accommodate in a race of, I believe it was 21,000 women. In a race of 21,000 runners, we can't have one of them be trans and end up in the, top half? Not even in the top 25%? Because why? I just don't get it. Why is it a big deal? I fail to understand. And this is what I meant by earlier. Like, this is This is all gonna sound stupid when you find out what place they actually came in. But
and I won't steal
see if he has
anybody's
anything
money,
else,
she quipped. So I just think, you know, beating out 14,000 women as a 54-year-old male is like,
it's too bad they
kind of
lost to
insulting
61
these
others.
females, but
61,000
I think
others.
it actually just proves why we
Or sorry,
have
6,100 others.
female sporting leagues. I like to make this point. We do not.
Wait. Do we have female sporting leagues because we decided that we wanted women to only face women? Or do we have female sporting leagues because women were not allowed into men's sporting leagues? You can, I don't actually know the answer between those two, but I have a suspicion on which one of those is the correct one.
Not have female sporting leagues because sometimes people wear dresses. Okay? We do because males and females have different biology. Males have more bone density, more muscle mass, more fast twitch muscles. They can jump higher, run faster, have a higher center of gravity. And the
Do all males have that? Are you sure about that? Also, is there something that somebody could do to outpace a man's natural ability? All of sports is all about the push and the pull of inherent like traits and like inherent talent versus I guess trained talent. You see this in every sport. There are people who are just naturally gifted at a sport. You know, take you know what? I'll go with the examples I actually know. Take Kazuchika Okada. Not an incredibly like ripped guy, but very athletic and very, very like just a natural like predilection to professional wrestling. And then you have I'm trying to think of like who the opposite person would be, or who and then you have let's say you know, another good example is like Kota Ibushi. Incredibly like suited to pro wrestling as a sport, has all of the natural God-given talents. And then you have like okay, then you have like Kenny Omega. I'll just use the two linking between those two things. Kenny, while being a very athletic guy, had to work a lot harder than Ibushi and Okada to kind of, you know, get to the level that he's at now. He has to work incredibly hard for that. There are aspects of their biology that put them ahead of him that he has to basically match with hard work. You see this in every sport. I'm only speaking on pro wrestling because it's the one that I know. But you see this with every sport. Every sport, there are push-pulls between people who are naturally good at the sport, people who are gifted at the sport from birth. You know, they're given really wide arm spans. They're given, really good, bone density, whatever it might be. I don't know, like the ability to throw a fucking football, whatever. And then there are people who have to train these skills. And that's always with sports. That's always the push-pull of sports. Sports are the story of unfairness.
Weirdest thing to me is when people try to use any of that in the inverse to justify having males compete against women. Notably in skateboarding. I'm hearing people, even like people in the disaffected liberal camp, being like, males have a higher center of gravity, so they're at a disadvantage in skateboarding. And it's just like, dude, you clearly have no idea what makes...
Wait, there have been female skaters. Not as many, because it was back in... Well, I'm sure there's more now than there were back then. But growing up, there were female skaters. Like...
Skateboarders good. And in fact, a higher center of gravity is a major advantage in skateboarding. But you know what, Nir? I'm not going to sit here and argue the science to people who don't care about science. The fact is,
how much of the science do you think he actually knows?
Question. Did women consent to having males in their leagues?
Nope. That's not the political question, Tim. It's not. You're missing it. The political question is, can we accommodate trans women into our society on an equal plane to other women and men? That is the question. can trans people, women and men, be accommodated in society?
The answer is no. But you know what?
He is not wrong.
I'll just put it this way.
That is what he thinks.
We have an interesting question over gender roles because of this conflict. If women are unwilling to stand up for their sport because they tend to be more agreeable, or just because they don't want to, then they deserve exactly what happens. But the argument that becomes...
Wait. Are you, Tim Pool, a male talking over females? Excuse you. So this is also kind of part of the entire grift that trans people in sports has become. He just said it. Women aren't that bothered by it. There are obviously and always going to be some women who are bothered by it. But writ large, most women don't seem to have much of a problem with it. So, yeah, it's almost like we can accommodate trans women in women's sports.
Men are supposed to stand up for women to protect them.
Nah, they don't need you to.
We're
This
in a
is
new day and age, ladies and
2023.
gentlemen. Women can choose for themselves what they want to do. And if women don't want to defend themselves or they want to allow males to compete against them, then they deserve to lose. They deserve it. That is not a statement of
It's too bad 6,000 cis women beat out this person. Again, they didn't finish anywhere near first. They came in 6,171st.
anger or resentment, or it's not intended to, it is not intended to be malicious. It is a fact statement. Women who want to compete against males deserve to lose. In the long run, they will. I have seen young female skateboarders put out statements with it's totally fine that I lost to a guy. Like they fine. I got no beef. That's on you.
This is what we call having bigger balls than Tim Pool.
If I'm going to compete, I'll compete against whoever I want. I'm probably going to win. And that's the craziest thing. I just got to tell you, look.
Imagine
I'll say it.
Imagine
I'll come out and say it.
Imagine thinking having less respect for those women than not. They go, I don't care who I'm competing against. I think I'm good enough to beat anybody, and I will do so. And that again, this is all sports. This is kind of what goes into being an athlete.
I'm a 37-year-old skateboarder. I'm an old man. The best I've ever placed in a contest, I think, was 13th or 7th, depending on the contest, because they're the qualifiers where I didn't make the cut. And I could do a bunch of tricks. There's one contest where I did I drop in, I do a 360 flip up a Euro gap. Then I did a nollie hard flip on the bank, turned around.
Hurry up.
Over a ramp to flat.
That's nice.
It was a decent run. I did a kick flip, late heel flip, revert
all of these
on
things
a ramp.
are hard.
I did a nollie hard flip.
It's funny too. He would probably admit that there are people who are just naturally better, and there are people who have to work a lot harder to be better at skateboarding. Again, this relationship permeates all sports, all of them.
Late flip, a bunch of really good tricks. I got to tell you, I am fairly confident that if I were to enter a skateboarding contest as a hobbyist 37-year-old skateboarder, I would win against some of the top females in the world. It's just
that. Oh, Tim. Okay. Let's see. I'll let him. You know what? No, we're not going to let him. Top. Let's see. Who? Letitia? Oh my goodness. I don't know any of these fucking people. 15. No. I want now. 20, 23? Sure. No, god damn it. Skateboard. God, not skate. No, I don't. God damn it. Okay. Let's see. Overcame injury with her wrist by, okay. Street skateboarding. Raisa Leal. Okay, let's take a look. I would love to see it. All right, let's see. Oh, I don't want anything too. Oh man, can I just see a line? Give me okay, here we go. Wait, I've seen this girl before. Okay, I've seen this girl before. Okay. Smells fucking clean. Oh wait, stop. Stop playing music, god damn it. Okay. We're gonna mute that so that we don't. Can I get like a good fucking best okay, here we go. Olympics? Okay, cool. We can play this though. I want to see like a line.
Because of how she rose to fame.
Damn, bruh. I could never.
Years ago. So Leal, she loves a Smith grind. She loves a feeble grind.
Can somebody needs to somebody needs to clip this.
The difference between a board slide and a lip slide. If you bring your front foot across the rail, it's a board slide.
Like, do we think Tim Pool could compete against this person? Oof. When was this? This person looks. Oh, this is 2015. No, I want 2023. God damn it. SLS. Oh, I don't want anything this long. Okay, let's see. Under 4 minutes. Ooh. No, shush. Ooh, okay. Solid. Oh, close. Yeah, like skateboarding is a young person's game. Let's be really fucking clear about that. I would love to see that. Maybe I should like man, somebody needs to communicate this to top women's skateboarders. Tim Pool, 37-year-old man.
Say. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, I don't believe that, dude. I don't know what, like, what could I probably do? Nollie Crook down the hub?
Nah, bruh. You no. You don't get time to like practice. You got to just pick up the board and be better.
Maybe like nollie flip, no
slide,
training, do
no
a
practice.
Switch tray flip over a certain gap. It's just crazy for me to think that I watch female skateboarder contests, and I'm just like, there's no question. I've never been a top male skateboarding athlete. I can do a bunch of really good tricks. I'm decently good. Never enough to be a pro. But if I were to compete in the women's division, I'd be like top 10 instantly overnight. Probably number 1. And again, there's probably a lot of people being like, yeah, blah, 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 Tim, you couldn't. Dude, I'm just watch the skateboarding stuff. Just go watch it. There's like.
Oh my goodness.
There's no question. It's just.
Can I get something that's like
I feel bad
recent?
saying it, but dude, if I did a nollie flip, no slide, nollie flip out, that's probably going to be the best trick.
Dude, I love this. He's just like, oh, I'm just going to do it. Like, it doesn't take multiple. Okay, sure, Tim. Sure.
In the entire contest for top women.
Sure.
Who can do some really amazing tricks, and they're getting better and better every day, and I'm getting older and worse. No joke. But it's just an issue of, males have a physical advantage in sports. That's just it. Do I lose in games of skate to women? Yeah, of course.
Also, let's be clear about this. We're talking like on average, but on average doesn't really matter when it's a one-on-one competition. We can figure out if this is a fair competition between two people. Like playing against LeBron. If I played basketball against LeBron, we're both men. That's not a fair basketball game.
Are there contests where women would probably beat me? Yeah, absolutely. But if I spent
Tim,
1 month doing basic training,
no,
Tim.
Be
number 1.
No.
And I gotta tell you, man.
No.
So many other guys, better and worse than me, would be as well. So be angry about it. Whatever. It's true. If that's the world we're gonna go into, don't be surprised when that's what happens. When foreign countries.
Also, I don't think women. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think women ever were like, upset at the idea. Were ever like, I just want to compete against women. Most women that I've met that do athletics want to compete in the sport. Who they're competing against is not as big of a concern. There's more of a, I love the sport, I want to play. There's a reason why you'd see like some girls, we had some chick like try out for the football team because she was a big football person, and she could play just as good as any of the guys. Like there are people like that, and there's no reason why if we can't accommodate those people, we can't accommodate the opposite. But whatever. Either way, all right, we only have 6 minutes. I don't think we actually have. Okay, should we watch the smart gun thing? Okay, we'll watch the smart gun thing. I don't really have that much to say. I just want to learn. I want to see it.
Okay. That Navy SEAL you see before you is holding a gun made by BioFire. Its very, very big claim is that it's the first company to make a smart gun that actually works. That's right.
What the fuck is going on with that trigger? That's probably... Okay.
James Bond style, fingerprint and facial recognition.
Oh, facial recognition.
The gun only fires if the right person is holding it.
It knows somebody's holding on to it. But no matter how much it pulls the trigger, nothing's going to happen.
Interesting. Bro, what the fuck?
The person who started by...
I'm assuming all the computer bits are all in the below the slide here.
BioFire is Kai Klupfer. He's all of 25 years old and has been working on making this gun for 10 years. A project he started shortly after the Aurora Theater shooting.
Bro, my man's...
It's like the worst mass
My man's is out here fucking drawing Titanfall guns.
shooting in history, and happened right just down the road here from where I grew up. I was fortunate enough to not have to think about gun violence or gun deaths.
Well,
and
not
that was
here.
really my first sort of encounter with the topic, right? I was just starting to grow up, just starting to think about these kind of topics as a 15-year-old, and really started to think about how could we do something about this? I started thinking about this concept of a smart gun. Right? And by no means am I the first person to think about this, obviously. And it's been science fiction forever, but nobody had ever really built a working smart gun.
Okay, so you're 15.
Yeah.
And instead of doing some policy, that you're inspired.
Yeah, I was never a policy person,
okay,
right?
You're like, I'm an engineer.
I've been forced to become a little bit more of one, over the last 10 years. But
yeah, I was gonna say
an engineer. I was a socially awkward nerd.
A bona fide nerd who clinched his nerd bona fides by getting an award at the very prestigious Intel International Science and Engineering Fair.
So, okay, so for people who don't know, I mean, this is like no joke. This is like thousands of the world's smartest kids.
The year I went, it was the top 1,500 out of over 8 million people who competed across the year.
Right, yeah, like this is the top of the top.
It's as high as it gets, I think, for the science fair world. At the time, I was mostly an electrical engineer, and I could sort of fake my way through some mechanical engineering, so built a pretty good electrical system and a really mechanical system, sort of slapped them together into this kind of gun-shaped object. Not an actual firearm in any way. I wasn't allowed to bring a gun to the science fair, quite obviously. Like, I was very surprised by all this. I'd done a lot of science fair projects before. 3/4 of the time, people didn't believe that I'd actually built them. They thought my parents had did them. I mean this in the nicest way possible, Dad. I'm sorry, but my dad needs help, like, turning his iPad on.
Damn.
After 10 years of toil, Kai is understandably proud that his business finally has a product to sell.
After you. Today we've got one of our Mark II prototypes, pre-production units of the Mars Smart Gun. So as soon as I start to interact with it, I'm going to see those white lights. The white lights basically mean that it's active. It sees that somebody's picked it up, but it hasn't recognized the user yet, so it's still locked.
To set up the gun, you register your face and fingerprints on this device in less than a minute, where you can also add and delete other users. If you're not registered, nothing.
Fingerprints are very well optimized, very commercially mature. You don't need a lot of processing power to run them appropriately. Facial recognition is a cutting-edge biometric, which means it requires orders of magnitude more processing power. So where previously we were able to just use like little microcontrollers and things like that to do fingerprints, we've had to basically build an entire computer hardened for the system, that works inside of a gun to be able to run facial recognition at the speeds that are.
Dude, the crazy thing too is like when a gun's firing, you're getting a lot of like force and a lot of just a lot of force going through the entire firearm. I wonder how much that affects the hardware components
that our customers demand.
I've shot guns before, but I'm far from a gun enthusiast. In many ways, I'm BioFire's target audience. A dad who wants to keep his family safe but who also thinks having a gun at home probably ends up more dangerous than good.
Generally.
Still, old gun or new, I needed a few pointers.
Yeah.
I would try to lean forward, lean into it a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
My dude, are you not using fucking...
Okay.
And again, the target's like less than 10 feet away, so you don't need to worry too much about aiming.
Let's not point that out.
Sorry, the target is like 100 plus yards away, and Ashley is about to, do a marksman level short shot here.
Are you gonna wear fucking?
Yep.
Oh, I was like, I was about to say, my dude, wear fucking ear protection.
There you go.
They got a
still
fucking
had more kick than I thought it was going to.
sight on there too.
It
Or
kicks,
fucking,
and from my experience, it works.
laser. Interesting.
The question is, will it sell? Several
Depends on
companies
how
have
much it
tried
is.
and failed to make a smart gun because it's really hard to do. And not just because you're mixing sensitive electronics with regular explosions.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay, so
say.
you've chosen to do a startup doing this incredibly hard technology and then to wade into like a Second Amendment sort of issue, right? So this is like nightmare.
Keeps it interesting.
How much is this thing?
That, as Kai has a talent for doing, is putting the controversy mildly. Pro-gun folks hate these things because they fear that one day the government will use the
Starbucks away
existence of
from
a
the
working
smoke.
smart gun
Oh, God. So boring.
to ban the dumb ones. Even flirting with smart guns leads to death threats and financial risks. One of the reasons BioFire's investors prefer to stay anonymous. And plenty of anti-gun folks don't like them because, they're guns. For his part, Kai's not interested in mandating or even advertising his product. BioFire, he says, is just here to provide choices and maybe save lives.
The key thing that
Is
we are
this
trying
it?
to
Oh, here it
solve,
is.
which I think we could completely solve, is children and teenagers getting access to firearms.
What?
Firearms are now the leading cause of death for
Here
children and
it is.
teenagers in America. They surpassed motor vehicle accidents for the first time in 2020. I've never talked to a gun owner who wanted their kid to find their gun. And so we think that by building technology that,
Yo,
basically
what the
works with the gun owner.
fuck? Yo. What? Oh, I mean, let's be honest. This shit is fucking expensive. Fucking okay. So even if you're getting like the really like cheap one, what is this? Oh my God, is $1,500. Yo, what the fuck? This is like super. Oh wow, it's like extra fucking wow. That's kind of wild, actually. I'm probably gonna play around with this. Mag release. Oh, I can't have red. I want like red for a mag release. Damn. Primary hand, right hand, serial number, of course. Upgrades, smart dock. What is the smart dock interface for adding user profiles? Oh, including, okay, you get 2 9mm mags. Yo, what the fuck? That's fucking cool. I gotta be honest, that's fucking cool. The fact that you can like pick your... This is some fucking like, that is cool. That is actually pretty cool. I really want one. I can't afford one at all. But that's fucking cool.
To enforce what they're already looking to do allows us to really actually address that portion of the challenge of basically gun deaths in America.
The final version of BioFire's gun arrived in April with this funky sci-fi look. It's definitely more Halo than Red Dead Redemption.
What?
But how well it will sell is anyone's guess.
We want it to look modern and futuristic and a little different than everything else that's on the market, obviously.
When I saw that one, it does have a little sci-fi thing.
The only thing
we don't want it to look too normal, but we don't.
The only thing I would want on it is a fucking I want a fucking optic mount on it.
Want it to look like only, something that a sci-fi nerd would like myself.
The Cybertruck or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to not say that.
What? That's fucking wild. Dude, that's fucking cool. I'm sorry, but that's pretty fucking cool. Okay, let's get the bottom. Okay, so that little round, that circle bit is where, so if you're I gotta admit, that's fucking cool. That dude, okay. Uh-huh. Damn, dude. Fucking 16? Let's see. Due at order finalization, 14. Yeah, that's fucking expensive. Oh, yeah. So then, okay. And if you're left-handed or right-handed, that makes sense. Customize permanent register serial number. Our team will create it with you after you order. Yeah, I would just take a standard one. That's cool though. You can okay, like this would be really good. Honest to God. Okay, let's talk about really quickly about the safety implications. Okay, this would actually be really, really fucking good for the in terms of safety. This person, the Kai dude, mentioned safety, and I think that's a really, really good way of framing this and kind of thinking about it, because this firearm works for the user as basically anything else would, right? But in a scenario where, we see in a lot of situations with gun violence that people get their guns from parents, from friends, from wherever. But like one of the key ones is I think we saw it in one of like the recent shootings where they got their firearm from like their parents, right? Like that's the thing that kind of happens. This would really cut down on the rate of that happening, and I think that's actually really good. Like that's actually a really great idea, is to kind of have that sort of safety measure in there. If you have a firearm and you have somebody who's having those kinds of thoughts, that's like one way to keep that out of, to still be able to prioritize your safety, what safety you think you need, and also be able to keep that person safe. That's actually super cool. Stasis is sublimate. This largely isn't true. Even the experts asked to, I'm assuming that's supposed to delineate between spree killings and mass shootings. Most mass shootings are not spree killings, and 99% of them are done with pistols. Yeah? Did I say the opposite? I was talking about suicides. A large percentage of my apologies. No, you're good. I know I was kind of dithering with the terminology, but yeah, yeah. I mean, most shootings are done with pistols, because pistols are very concealable. You see a prevalence of them in like mass shootings, but there's not a at the end of the day, the goal is not, I think, the goal is to keep firearms out of the hands of irresponsible and dangerous people, not to, I think, worry as much about like what firearms are available on the market. There's obviously, I don't know if it's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation that if I start talking about it, we'll be here for days. But I think this is fucking cool. I want one. I really want one. This is fucking cool. The fact that you, honest to God, come on. The fact that you can like customize it. The only thing I'm sad about is I can't get a fucking red mag release. I want like a red mag release. That'd be fucking sick. Fucking this, like the top white, bottom black, blue, that with the red mag release. Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, 9mm. Yeah, this is cool. I want one. When I have like Hassan money, I'll buy one and make a video or something. But until that day, sadly, it's probably a bit far off. Machinist by trade. The issue is that we already have an item in its simplest form, and you've got people making 45s with hand tools in unpowered huts in Jakarta. Complexity can only be cut away. Do you mean like with this person's design or whatever? Or do you mean like in terms of people getting a hold of what's it called? Correct. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is definitely a prototype thing, but I think it's neat. Solar roadways and the Hyperloop for guns. Yeah. Well, so the thing is, okay, let me think about this. Let me think about if you're right, because you might have a point here. because the Hyperloop was just gamer lights, was just a gamer light tunnel. The solar roadways, I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming I don't know what the solar roadways are. But okay, let me think about this. Okay, this is what I think. This is a experimental and pretty cool like little piece of technology that probably is not going to be like the idea that this is going to be the norm, I think is ridiculous. That the idea that you're going to have, especially for like $1,500, this is not going to be a common carry weapon whatsoever. This is very experimental, but I do think people who I think there will be a market for this. I just think it's going to be kind of small. But I don't think this is not going to challenge, this is not going to challenge a lot of gun manufacturers in any way, I think. I mean, if it works, then it's kind of neat. I want one. But like, this will not beat out my Beretta 92 FS, because I love my Beretta 292 FS more than I will love any other firearm that I have. But either way, I'm saying that even if it gained prevalence and even if it gained government mandate that all weapons ought have this feature, it can turn out a rifle on a mill and lay. The only I can see is that cops ought have them so that people can't lunge for them. That would be so I feel like that's the thing where we could be training police better. There's a lot of things about police training that we could be fixing to reduce to kind of increase safety. But also then the worry always is if cops aren't able to respond. There's a lot of balance with this. I don't think this is gonna be mandated. I just think it's kind of neat. I just think it's neat. It's kind of a cool concept, yeah. I'll debate this one. The issue isn't cop training. The issue is Dunbar's number. I don't know what that is. So unfortunately, I'm getting off. But if you want, there's an email above my head. If you want to email me, we can talk. The next stream is on Thursday if you want to have a conversation about this. But I'm actually slightly over time. But I'd be happy to have the conversation. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah. I'm always interested to have these kinds of conversations. I just stumbled on this smart gun thing too. This just looked really cool. Just from like a tech and gun perspective. But anyway, okay. Let's finish up so that we can get out of here and then people can go to sleep. If you enjoyed any of what you saw, if you like lurking in chat, if you learned anything, if you like Stasis over here, just kind of popped into an interesting topic and offered a debate, then by all means hit the follow button on Twitch and hit the subscribe button on YouTube and kind of join the conversation. This is an open forum. I like talking to people. There were some idiots in here earlier that, when challenged, they wouldn't come on the show, which, it happens sometimes. It irritates me, admittedly, but it happens sometimes. But I'm always willing to host people and have them come on and talk about, whatever their ideas. They're going to get pushback usually, but that kind of comes with the territory. Either way, you all have a lovely night. I'm going to go probably edit some and, I don't know, play a video game of some kind. Probably play Siege, actually, now I think about it. Yeah. Ooh, wait, there's a video that's like, oh, this is from a year ago. This was from 2 weeks ago. Ooh, there's a Colian Noir video on problem with smart guns. I'm going to watch that in my personal time. Anyway, yeah, you all have a lovely night. I'll see you on Thursday, 7 o'clock, Mountain Time. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
I'm going to be fine with your jokes, but I'm not sure about Dark Brandon.